Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news for the world.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You have to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to fucking You can't make me do anything like Chris!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslim. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true. I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I closed tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.
Other top story tonight, a mysterious.
That's right, y'all. Welcome and welcome. Guess who it is? It's the whiteologist. Mr. Blow Your Mind is in the house on a much earlier time. That's right. I told you I'm kind of dibbling dabbling, trying to figure out whether it'll be a better time so that I can kind of get back into the traffic of things. So first and foremost, I want to thank those subscribers who are here that is live. What's good, fam? How y'all doing this evening, man? I know I'm glad to see y'all up in here. Passerbys, it's always a grand opening when you come over here. Go down the aisle, shop, see if you like something, pick up something you like, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you want to make a comment, say that Mr. Blow Your Mind is full of BS, you could do that as well. Agents, you know we've been talking in the background. You know we working things out, right? You kind of let me get out a little bit, but I need a little bit more. So, what's good to you too, agent? Now, you know those who might be new to this show, I got to spill before I get into the topic of the show. So, you know I got to do this, so check it out. So, hello. Welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, articulate, relay, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it be by news, video, website, or quotes from publication. As I, your whiteologist, articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. Because as a descendant of the greatest people who created the greatest country, on this channel over here, we give honor to our ancestors. Because you know why? The truth don't need no partner. You know what my motto is, y'all? I'm not going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. And what do I know? You know how it is. This is the bubble. We live in it. And every day something is always going on. It don't never change. Only time it's going to change is when we no longer exist on this place that we call Earth. But as long as we're here, we got a lot of things we have to be dealing and trying to iron out. It's always that dichotomy between, again, in this nation, we call it race. Race is always there. Kind of like on your screen, it says it's always been about race. And I know it's a topic that is like the gorilla or the elephant in the room, and a lot of times we don't want to talk about it. But on this particular show here, we address it when it's appropriate, and there's the other things that need to be talked about that are just things that are just in the news that need to be purported, right? So, what you talking about, Mr. Blows Your Mind? Well, what I'm talking about is, well, you know, let's put it like this. Well, you know, those who are into the Christian scriptures or the Bible, right? You don't have to be Christian, it could be Hebrew, you know. And they said about wonderments in the sky. There would be signs, you know, people searching for a sign. And there actually was a sign today to those. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that? There was a sign today? There was a sign that fell out somewhere in the West Coast, somewhere. So I think about San Francisco, somewhere in that area, right? Well, I ain't going to talk about it. I'm going to be about it. Let me go ahead and show what I'm talking about. And I'll come back and then I'll elaborate my opinion, you know, and we'll go from there. So sit back for a quick second and let's get into
Other top story tonight, a mysterious light seen in the Bay Area. Plenty of people offering up their own theories on what this could actually be, but now in.
Night Beat's Joe Vasquez is live in San Francisco with the latest on this thing. Joe?
Hey Ken, this light sculpture behind me, that's not it. This is a mysterious light in the sky. But really the one we're talking about was earlier this evening, and it was otherworldly. When the twilight sky suddenly sparkled brightly this evening, seems like everybody took out their cell phones to capture the images. What exactly was this question mark shaped phenomenon? The crazy theories began to flow.
It was far too big to be a firework. I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of high-tech rocket that they're working on, possibly, or aliens. One of the two.
Could be aliens.
It could be aliens.
You can't rule that out.
I would never rule that out.
I was thinking it was like a jet or something, like a fighter pilot that was leaving a crazy streak in the sky.
That's pretty crazy, though.
Right?
What if it is aliens?
They better have some really cool spaceship we can check out. That'd be fun.
No, it turns out it's not aliens. The Lick Observatory posted a statement on Facebook calling it a meteor that changed shape because of upper-level winds.
A very bright meteor that fell through the atmosphere, and it took place shortly after sunset, so that the contrail that it left behind in the atmosphere was still lit by the sun.
Bing Kwok is the assistant director of the Morrison Planetarium at the California Academy of Sciences.
And when upper winds in the atmosphere blew the contrail into nicely contorted shapes, that looked like a strange glowing curlicue up in the air that baffled a lot of people, but very likely just a bright meteor.
Okay, to summarize, it was likely a meteor, according to the Lick Observatory. The reason it made some strange designs is because of upper-level winds. And finally, Ken, it is likely not an alien, although remember, we're not ruling that out.
Okay, can't rule anything out. I'm going with Bing Kwok. Guy's a genius. Been doing this for years and years and years and decades and decades.
Yeah.
Well, you know, back in the background, always got a little technical difficulties going on there. But again, you're just seeing what took place there. Something like some little meteor or rock or something that came through. Again, it did not ask anybody of color, right? You know, if you'd ask somebody of color, what would it probably say? You know, we'd start talking about, you know, Bible and prophecy, and they didn't want to hear all that. So, you know, they went with the, you know, with, oh, it was maybe an alien spaceship, and it may be kind of cool, right? You know, they got that philosophy how they look at things. And, you know, again, we are living in the signs of the times, and things are just, you know, being revealed, and you have to take it for what it is again. You have to interpret it, again, because everybody has their perspective about things. You have certain information and knowledge about things. It could have been what the so-called scientists said. It's possible that could have been what it is, but it also could be some other things too, right? Because we know we got the supermoon coming up too in January, about the 23rd, 25th, right? I got that super red moon, right, coming up. Again, omen. Right, seen, if you've been in my library, seen some of my older videos, remember about some, maybe a year or two ago, there was that one with the Indy 500 race. I happened to catch, not the race. Now, Mr. Bowler, I don't be watching the kind of, but I just happened to catch that because I understood about that. And it was a pure red. I don't know if y'all seen it. It was purely red. It was such of a wonderment that most people didn't even hear. And they didn't talk about it because, again, about the omen that supposed to be as a sign, right? So now we're coming on a new year, about to come into the 400-year anniversary, and not too many days within it, within less than 3 weeks in that, there's going to be a wonderment, huh? So stay tuned, y'all. Things are developing, right? Things are developing. But don't let me spook you out. I'm just showing you something. You know, no, again, some people more spiritual than others. Some people are just, you know, they physical. They say that we're wrestling with physical and the spiritual, right? So again, depends on your own interpretation. Now we're going to move on to something else, right? So while we're kind of talking about the Bible, I seen this story here, right? And I'm like, okay, you know, again, you know, people, you know, get into, you know, they got a profession, right? So you're a scientist, right? And you know about, you know, chemicals and the element chart, and you know about all that, right? And you got this, you know, you know, again, when you're young, right? You're young like that, you kind of just, well, you know, I try things, you know, you experiment with stuff. So here was a story. Well, let me let you hear this. Let me let you hear this, and then I'll come back. How about that? We'll do that. Let's make sure you get everything right. This is a quick short story. We'll get back and just see how it goes, and be right back.
Biohacker injects himself with DNA sequence.
Oh no, slow down. Slow your roll. Get on course. We got company in the house, y'all. Come on. All right, let's do this.
Biohacker injects himself with DNA sequence made from Bible and Quran verses? You know I'm going to say that again. Bible hacker injects himself with DNA sequence made from Bible and Quran verses? This story was done December 19, 2018
And this is how it reads. A biohacker injected himself with DNA sequence made from parts of the Bible and Quran in a risky experiment because he wondered whether it would be possible. Adrian Locatelli, the Green Noble in France, translated religious passages into DNA codes to build unknown proteins which he then poured into his body. The high school student risked potentially fatal consequences after conducting the procedure without any knowledge of the effects the proteins would have on his body. Locatelli, who claimed the bizarre experience was the first of its kind, converted all of the letters in the holy books into a DNA sequence. A DNA strand is made up of chemicals represented by the letters A, C, G, T, and all genes are coded for by a different combination of these 4 letters. Locatelli replaced every Hebrew character in the book of Genesis with DNA code, excluding 210 to 214, 5, and 71 to 75 because they were controversial, going in the order of GACT. Here we go. We had an individual who called himself.
Top story tonight: a mysterious light seen in the Bay Area.
I got some technical difficulties going on here. Don't understand why. I don't know what you slow y'all roll. But anyway, we had a little cat in high school, right? Caucasian guy, you know, he wasn't no brother. He wasn't no brother. Brother ain't thinking about doing no breaking down no sequences of no DNA of the Bible and the Quran and thinking about how he can infuse that like that's going to give him some spirituality. Think about that. What was he smoking or what they smoking, right? What could you be smoking to make you say, you know what, man? I was thinking, you know, why don't I break down the pages of, again, I guess it must, they didn't say exactly what scriptures, you know, or what book of the Bible. They said certain numbers, but we don't know what they were. But he said there was a couple of them. He said, well, they had controversial meaning to it, so he didn't want to infuse that. But wait a minute, you're going to take the pages of a particular part of the Bible, break it down to the last compound, see how it sounds a little unrational, right? And he going to change it to the sequence of DNA, right? And inject this into himself as if what was he thinking was going to happen. But he put himself in danger because, again, that's ink, paper, right? And whatever other compounds and stuff that was inside that ink. And injecting this body. Now, how smart can you be that you going to put, because it said Quran and Bible, that make, boy, he don't need no, ain't nothing to be said. Ain't nothing else to be said on that, right? Because either you was high on something, or you just, you know, square peg in a round hole, or you was in the classroom with the paper over the window. Y'all know that? Remember that? The classroom, they had the paper over the window so nobody could see in there, and so when somebody get in there, maybe they sent a message in there, they try to poke a hole in there so you could be like, damn, that's, so his ass is up. He in there. He got to be in there. Ain't no way he gonna tell me that this cat sat there and think that he gonna infuse Quran in the molecules of the Quran of a page in the Bible and infusing himself and thinking he was going to get some magical powers or he was going to be enlightened spiritually. All right. Pick him up on the short bus. He'll be all right. All right. Oh, that was that story. For those who might didn't hear it, that was one that years ago. Now, this one here is a little personal for me. First, I got to let you see it. Then after that, I'll come behind it because I got something I want to, because again, another thing I got to tell to those who are new to the show, I am the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Let me say that again. I am the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Anybody say, well, why? You ain't doing that. You talk a little new, little stuff like that. Oh, no. It gets better. This is, I got to warm you up. You know, you don't get right into it and just, you know what I'm saying? That ain't good. You don't just come in and bam, bam, bam. No. You come in, you ease it up, you know, get a feel for it, then you get into the crux of it, you know, introduction. So, anyway, This one is a little personal because, again, I want you to understand. Listen to what this cat is talking about. Listen what he's saying. Listen what he does and how he is supposed to be a guru or expert about what he knows. Because a lot of people use this, right? You use this and then you wonder why sometimes, again, there's a science to it. Because, again, this is why they, people vibe and do what they do. But let me quit talking and let you go ahead and see it, and then we'll be right back. Let me go ahead and pull this up. And everything will go and be right back.
Our other top story tonight, a mysterious light seen in the Bay Area. Plenty of people offering up their own theories on what this could actually be.
Really?
But now
Really? Really? Oh, it's that one is no longer could be played all of a sudden. Let me try something here, y'all. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Because all of a sudden that one that I was just about to play said, well, that one is no longer playable. And that seems crazy to me. That's kind of crazy. That's really crazy. All right, so let me do this then. I'll come back to that one. But it kind of takes me out of the sequence of what I want to do. I can't. Let me try that one more time. Let me see something. Put this on mute so y'all can't hear this. Just give me 1 quick second. Let me check something because that's kind of strange. That's not working all of a sudden. So, matter of fact, let me see who all up in the house. We got 7 people in the house. Okay, that's pretty good. Any fam in the house? I got the Indigenous King in the house. Good peace. CDG, hey, what's good? Tony Smith, most hated. Why? I'm the most hated because I will hit topics over here that other people will not. So some people might think that the way I do it, I'm doing, but you, again, when you understand the science that I come from, you will know why. And I'm quarantined off. But guess what, y'all? Have y'all seen that brother video I did the other day? It's at 2:40 now. Well, I guess me talking and doing things in the background is getting me out of the corner. So I ain't going to say too much, but I want you to see this before I do it. So give me 1 quick second. Let me quit talking and get this going because I know y'all in here. So let me see. I don't know why that just all of a sudden didn't work and make sense, but let me see if I can pull out the quick miracle, what I have to do, what I really need to do. Let me see which one this is right quick. Put this mute on here. I don't want y'all to hear that get this here, so do that. Hopefully we can pull it off. Let's see. Can I get that one? No, that's that one, right? I don't want that one. Don't want that one. I want the one I need. Okay, I know how I can grab it. All right, so what I'll do is do this. How about that? Let me go here, and I'll come back in that one because I could do this. All right, now this here, I pulled this up because again, I'm just wondering why they doing this. So let me see if I could do this, and then we'll come back. Now to figure out how to get that other one off.
This tunnel, which allows cars to zip through along a system of tracks, could be the answer to traffic jams in any city. Or at least that's what Elon Musk says.
But you could literally build enough tunnels to transport everyone in the United States in LA. There is no limit.
The tech entrepreneur demonstrated how the system could work at an event on Tuesday.
The way the loop would work is that
the test tunnel, built by Musk's Boring Company, is about a mile long. It stretches from a parking lot owned by Musk's SpaceX to a neighborhood in Hawthorne, California. It's part of a system called Loop that can transport cars underground and shuttle them at high speeds.
There's sort of like wormholes. It's just like you drop down the worm, like you're driving around, oh, I need to get to the other side of LA or New York or whatever, drop down the wormhole, pop out the other side, and then you can just drive normally.
The rides for the attendees at the event on Tuesday were bumpy, and at 40 miles per hour, much slower than the advertised potential speed of 150 miles per hour. The cars, which have to be autonomous and electric, are lowered into the system by elevators. Musk says these can be placed anywhere cars can go.
The intent here is to have many more stations than you'd have in a subway, so at least 10 or 20 times more stations than you'd have with a subway.
Retractable side wheels that run along the curbs of the tunnels keep the vehicle going straight.
When you're driving down the road normally, they retract and go under the car, you don't even see them. But when you get into the tunnel, they deploy and allow you to go through a narrow tunnel very quickly and effectively like a little train.
Musk has tunnel boring projects in Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, and proposed a tunnel in Los Angeles to Dodger Stadium. But his latest venture still faces a number of challenges.
Here we go.
Musk said the cost of digging with his new technology is cheaper than traditional tunneling, but buying land and building underground stations is still very complex and expensive. And there's also red tape.
LA is like the tunnel equivalent of Broadway. There's about 1 million regulatory agencies that you have to satisfy. I mean, essentially, if you can tunnel here, you can tunnel anywhere.
Musk also faces questions from investors on why he used resources owned by another company, SpaceX, to build this tunnel for the Boring Company.
150 miles an hour. That'd be phenomenal.
All right, so anytime they talking about digging, who they gonna get to dig, right? Who gonna dig these tunnels? And you got to ask yourself, what they hiding from? You want to build the roadway up under the ground and going 150 miles an hour. You really trying to get away from somebody, huh? Boy, I tell you, boy, that projection, what about 2040, 2050? Right? And you know why a lot of y'all end up coming over here because y'all seen that video that I did, Extinction Race, right? That's real, right? So Muggs is preparing for, you know, what was that movie? Divergent? Y'all ever seen that movie, Divergent? How it was? It's going to be like that, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to be like, you know, Muggs don't want to be able to be encountered. That's what they're talking about, building super trains, right? You remember the super train they're talking about now? They're talking about building the tunnel. A car can go down under there and go at 150 miles an hour. I said, but what happened if it break down? And you down up in the tunnel. Then what's going to happen then? You got to walk? I mean, another car? I mean, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with that, right? Yeah, they foolproof this sound. They, you know, again, trying to be greater than other people, right? You know, when you look at ancestry-wise, right? When you look back, when we go back in history, we look at the pyramids and, you know, all the technology and stuff that was done there. You know, that's why they don't talk about it. They call that antiquity. They're going to out the old kingdom, right? The old kingdom, right? As if like you done surpassed that. I'm telling you going to the moon, but then they told you in school you couldn't get past the Van Halen belt. But I'm still trying to figure out how you got to the damn moon. But maybe you lied to me, man. I don't know nothing about science. Maybe you did get through there, right? But I remember that's what you told me in school. Told me that Van Halen belt can't get through. Told me you get Mars. I'm like, well, how do you get to Mars if you ain't been to the moon? Now you're gonna build tunnels up under the ground. Cars going 150 miles an hour. Who y'all getting away from? Who you running from? Who you ain't trying to see, right? You know, they coming up with all kinds of plans, man. You know, somebody got to keep us up on it. Somebody got to be looking. I know somebody like, hey, man, I don't be studying what they be on, y'all. Well, okay, I'm on the watchtower. You ain't got to do it. I'm doing it. I'm on the watchtower. May not be popular at times, and maybe sometimes you don't understand why, but somebody got to do it. Because, see, we can't all be on the continent. We all can't be with the fist up, and we all can't be. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to be watching, right? And that's what the news does, right? Keeps you informed. You know, you spit out, you eat the fish, but you spit out the damn bones. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out, but say, let me show you this. All right, you asked the question. What's that brother that was in here that asked the question? Why do you consider yourself the most hated show on the black internet? You want to know why? Oh, Kabir, babe, what's good, bro? What's good? What's good, Kabir? Now, you want to know why I'm the most hated show? Now, what I want to show you, let me see if I can pull it off in the background. If I can pull this off in the background, that would be very lovely. That would be so lovely. That would be, I got some, let's see if I can pull it off, y'all. Let's see if I can pull it. Because, see, there's a reason I need to show that is because it correlates to what I'm going to show you. You want to say why I'm the most hated? I have to show you this. Let me see if I can pull this in. Border matchmaker. I might be able to pull it up, y'all. Hold on. Give me one quick second. Let's see. Might be able to do it. Let me, come on. I can do it. If I can find it, I got it. Let's see. Hold on. Come on. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. No, come on, come on, come on. That ain't it. Come on. Is that it? No, no, that's not it either. Come on. Uh-oh, here it go. Maybe I can get it. Let's see if I can pull it up. If I can pull it up, I got it. Then we can go on. Let's see if I can pull it up. It's pulling up. It's pulling up. Okay, I might be able to pull it off, y'all. Hold on. Oh, I don't care about that. I don't need that part. I'm gonna skip that. Come on. All right, here we go. I might be able to pull it off. Hold on. All right, let me go. Here we go. I might be able to pull it off, y'all. Somebody is working with me. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up in the middle of the game move. Normally wouldn't let me do it, but I'm gonna get it off, y'all. All right. Might be able to pull this move off. All right, so we play this. Damn, boy, I might have pulled that one off. That's showing up my technical skills getting a little bit better. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Yes, sir. No, that's not the mother. That's not the mother. That's not it, man. What's wrong? Come on, do it right now. That's not the one. What the hell? That ain't what I put in there. I put this. You know, I'm gonna show you why I'm the most hated. Now, I got to prove that to you. You might think I'm making that up. All right, let me try one more time. Come on. It's in there, so all you gotta do is play. What's your problem? All right, so come on. All right, this should be it. This should be it. There we go.
This was actually one of the first hoverboard factories. They could produce maybe 15,000 hoverboards a month. On Amazon, I pushed them up in the first page, bestseller actually. And you gotta remember, not just Amazon US. We're talking about Amazon Germany, Amazon France, Italy, and UK.
Meet Howard Tai, the man who claims credit for turning this anonymous Chinese hoverboard factory into a successful global business.
I guess that's what they call me, Press of Amazon, because I teach them how to sell on Amazon.
His job, manipulate product listings on Amazon to boost his clients' sales.
做的就是怎么去提升那个销量做得更好，就是通过你和第三方要怎么去做才能提升这个流量或者是数据。
He's one of a number of self-proclaimed experts who are sometimes called the gurus.
So there's different gurus for different things. Most of them, they do have their own traits, their own expertise.
If you are an Amazon user, you may have noticed that sometimes it's really hard to figure out which products you should buy. Sometimes they all look the same. There are 500 million products all on one site, all vying for your attention. And the reality is, the vast majority of buyers would only click somewhere at the very top of the list. To get one of those spots, some sellers are ready to do anything. Fake reviews, artificial sales, and even bribes, all of which violate Amazon rules. Howard Tai has advertised illicit tactics to potential clients and charges thousands of dollars for his consulting, but says he does it mainly to defend sellers who have come under attack.
Did I just get myself in trouble or anything? Did I do anything bad yet?
The Wall Street Journal investigated for months around the world, and we came to China's tech and manufacturing hub to know more about the shadowy tactics used by online sellers here to beat their rivals.
Okay, all right.
We found that many sellers choose a radical approach. To become one of the first listings you see when you search for a product, they take down their competitors.
So here is our logistics center. As you can see, we have here like a small assembly line.
Amazon entrepreneur Meir Simhi moved from Israel to China 11 years ago. He says he has been the target of several attacks.
Holiday seasons 2 years ago, just before Christmas, before Cyber Monday and Black Friday, I wake up in the morning one day, I look at my computer and I see 0 sales. The reason was my main products were suspended. If a competitor wants to kill you, you just have to leave few fake reviews to your product. Every day you wake up the first thing you do is checking your reviews. You want to know if you're still in the business or not.
Insiders say one reason attacks are so common is that they're extremely easy to pull off. The manipulators exploit Amazon's automated system. Returning a product and flagging it as dangerous or fake can trigger an immediate suspension.
They will purchase our products and then they will return it, claiming that the product is not as described. By returning the product, they will also increase the return rate, which will make Amazon suspend our product page.
So then what do? Is your product just finished?
In some cases, yeah, you cannot come back from this kind of attack.
Amazon says it has put in place sophisticated systems to monitor attacks, and that genuine sellers are promptly allowed to list again. However, Simhi explains it can take weeks to be back online.
It's a jungle. It happens all the time. For me, it can cost like tens of thousands US a year.
Another way sellers are violating Amazon's rules to try to boost their products is by writing fake reviews. Because the more positive reviews sellers have, the higher up their products will appear in the listings, making customers more likely to buy. When you look at the reviews for this product, you can see that it's very popular. But there's almost something too perfect about it. When you dig down and look into the reviews, you realize that while this product is a pair of headphones, the reviews describe a screen protector. It looks like a very clumsy piece of manipulation. In the case of these headphones, we emailed the seller, but he didn't reply. So, if you are an average buyer, how can you spot fake reviews from China? It's easy, according to Howard. He sat down in our studio to explain.
It's just really about how it sounds like. As long as it sounds like it's from natively from the U.S. and it has some kind of slang and doesn't have too much broken English, then it should be a good review. Anything short, I would think is really fake. It's awesome. Kind of sounds pretty fake to me.
The question is, how do people actually generate thousands of allegedly fake reviews every day? During our investigation, we found that specialized websites control thousands of buyer accounts and use these to sell fake reviews to sellers based in China or anywhere else in the world. If Amazon discovers that a seller is using illicit tactics, Amazon will ban that account. However, many Chinese sellers have multiple selling accounts, so if they get banned from one, they'll just switch over to another. And if that one gets banned, they'll just make even more. On Amazon in general, the more a vendor sells, the higher his ranking. So, to artificially boost sales, companies have commissioned third parties to buy their products. Some professionals told us they even sent empty boxes to random US addresses and claimed genuine transactions. It's particularly widespread among producers of cheap generic products, like those on sale in this market.
Here we are at one of Shenzhen's largest wholesale markets. I mean, it's just incredible what a range of electronics and how cheap all of this is. What we see here is that they're selling tons of generic electronic products. They're basically indistinguishable from one to the other. It's your cell phone charger versus another cell phone charger. And because these are all virtually indistinguishable, whoever can corner the market by making sure that their product rises to the top of the listings is going to get all the sales. So that gives sellers a huge incentive to manipulate the market and drive their product to the top.
And finally, let's talk about corruption, which of course is totally against the rules.
During the course of our reporting, we discovered that Amazon is investigating certain of its own employees to determine whether they are accepting bribes to give advantages to sellers.
According to people familiar with or involved in these transactions, sellers paid bribes ranging from $80 to $2,000 to Amazon employees in China to delete negative reviews, restore banned sellers' accounts, and obtain restricted Amazon data that will help them boost sales. So, what does Amazon say about all of this? They told us they're constantly monitoring the website for suspicious activity, and that users trying to abuse its system make up a tiny fraction of activity on its site.
Amazon also uses sophisticated technologies like machine learning to combat bad users. They also pursue civil and criminal penalties.
But people like Mr. Tai say that so long as Amazon will be governed by algorithms and artificial intelligence, there will be humans out there to trick the machines.
You get this kind of problem where automation and will lead to a lot of loopholes, because their system right now is very vulnerable and they don't do enough, and many sellers are getting hurt.
All right. So I say, Mr. Blows Your Mind, how you gonna say that what's going on with that? That's Amazon. They got nothing to do with you. Well, there were some points made in there that I'm going to show you make the bridge. Then I'm going to give you the actual factual to what I'm talking about. So then somebody going to say, well, how are you going to say you the most hated show? Or you the most hated in the corner? I'm going to prove it to you. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't. Again, what's my motto? I ain't going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. Now, according to that, what you just seen, it talking about how to be the #1 in the search, right? That Chinese cat there, that name is some Chai, right? Tai, right? He is, no matter what country you go to, his products is always on the #1. He done found a way. Matter of fact, he is the guru of how to get your product on the #1 search, because you know that's what everybody fights for, right? When you go on that search page now, again, if you are a content creator, in order for your channel to thrive, you must, be in those tops where you're being seen with people who are not subscribers or just passing by. When they see you, they say, oh, what's that about? Okay, let me click on that, right? Now, so with that being said, he what he does, his whole job is to manipulate that whole system, and he's done came up with a science to that, right? And so he sells that information to people who wants to have their products up at a certain level so that they get a lot of sales. You heard the one woman, she said, oh, I come to Howard Tai, that's the name, Howard Tai, and he helps me and I get a lot of sales based on the fact that he's manipulating, right? So they went through some steps and told you, okay, one, they take down, right? They take down the competitors, right? Right? To take down your competitor. Now, keep these in mind what I'm showing you or what I'm talking about first, and then when I show it, you're going to see it. I'm going to put it in live in effect, and you're going to see it. Myself, personally, you're going to see it. So, one would be to take down the competitor, right? It would also be to, manipulate the product, right? And somehow you make a bad report on the individual. So what you see sometimes is you see people flagging people, right? You see people getting flagged because, again, maybe they're going against somebody who is a channel that they subscribe to and they being attacked. Let's just say, for instance, I know CDG in here. So let's just say Radical Home Goddess, right? You know what's going on over there. I seen you over there, girl. Over there and all that stuff that's going on over there. See, you ain't going to see Mr. Blow Mind about none of that. No. Stay solo. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm unified through us as black people, but that stuff there, I ain't got time for that, right? So what happens is people get revenge and they go in there, get them flagged, right? In which, again, will penalize your channel. Then if you get so many strikes, you'll get suspended and all that other things. You got to, go through this whole process, right? Now, there's some people who, again, remember also talking about bribes. You have people who actually pay for subscribers, right? You see some shows, you be like, again, you done heard me talk about it. Matter of fact, last couple videos going back, I presented what happened, remember, where the executive CEO for Google had to go before the Senate, right, and have that, and a lot of stuff fell out. Now, if you didn't see them videos, I said, go back. If you're a content creator, go back and look, and you'll see that there's some funny business going on. I had been talking about it, but then, again, the creator came and presented this stuff, and then I got it. And so, again, like I say, you see the video I did yesterday, it's at 240-something, y'all. They might let me out the corner, right? They might finally let me out the corner, because, again, anyway. So, now, the other part into it is this, right? And it says that, okay, you can actually get somebody, knock them out of the business that they don't get nothing. So somebody who's inside, remember talking about he was watching people from inside who are getting bribed, and then they can manipulates and makes somebody as a competitor not get nothing, and then you getting all the traffic, keep that in mind. Now, I ain't gonna talk about it no more. Let me show you. Somebody probably, man, I hear you talking. You doing all that whooping. Let me show what I'm talking about. Ready? Check this out. Don't say I didn't show you. I'm doing this based on the video you just seen about Amazon and how they manipulate, again, their competitors, right? So I said, well, I had found some information. I was doing some research because, again, I'm trying to get out of the corner, right? And so I was like, you know, I'm looking at all scenarios, right? So I'm looking at every scenario. And so I said, this search engine, you know, when they talk about algorithms, right? Those who know about the algorithms, and then the search engine. So if you do this, go on to right to YouTube, and then if I put in my name, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in my name is normally with caps, right? So I'll put in caps, right? You see, I'm putting in right, Mr. Blows Your Mind, right? Hold on, went back, put that back. Okay, so I'm gonna put in Mr. Blows Your Mind, and you see, as I put in MRBLOW, you're starting to see. I blow your mind. I blow your mind workout. I blow your mind diet. I blow 10 breathalyzer. I blown burnout. I blown incense. I blown incense. I blow your mind height. I blow your mind Instagram. I blow herbal instant review. Right? Okay. So, but I'm MR. Right? That's IB. Right? So, okay. Let's go on. So put in S. Right? Same thing stays up. You know, U. All right. All right, so I'm putting my name, right? And I'm like, wow, okay. So even spelling my name, right? And I have a URL, right? But as you see on your screen, no Mr. Blows Your Mind doesn't come up. So you had to spell my name entirely, and yet it doesn't even show that it's existing, right? So let's put it in lowercase and see the same thing. So I'm going to put it in lowercase, right? MRBLOWSURMIND, right? Again, you see I blow your mind, I blow your mind workout, I blow your mind diet, I blow your mind height, I blow your mind Instagram, I blow your mind Photoshop, I blow your mind waist, right? But you don't see nothing with Mr. Blows Your Mind, even with my name spelled out. Strange, right? Strange. So I said, well, let me go back again. Okay, so let's see, who is this I Blow Your Mind? So I click on it, and look what is popping up, y'all. There is no Blow Your Mind, right? Look, you see somebody there says the name of this individual is Maddie Crumb. Maddie Crumb, Maddie Crumb, Maddie Crumb, Maddie Crumb. Right? Where's I Blow Your Mind at? Click on it, right? Right? And then you see it, right? I don't want to hear you talking. But you can hear him talking, right? It's spooky with the twins, right? Some goofy shit, right?
So it is like...
Right? Some goofy shit, right? Maddie Crumb. What the hell does that got to do with I Blow Your Mind? Right? I don't see anything on here that says I blow your mind. Right? Now on here it says follow me at Instagram, right? Follow me at Instagram. Right? Instagram.com, but it's not saying what, right? Okay, so let's go to about, right? So if I go to about, what does it say? I don't see anything that is showing what I Blow Your Mind. I see Maddie Crumb, right? Maddie Crumb. Why is Maddie Crumb getting to get I Blow Your Mind? What does that got to do with the name, right? Okay, let's go back then. No, maybe I'm mistaken, right? Maybe I'm mistaken.
To federal.
Right? Oh, maybe I'm mistaken, right?
To federal prison inmates.
So, okay, we're going to stop that there, right? We're going to stop that there, right? So, again, let's go back again, right? So that was I Blow Your Mind, right? So let's go back again, right? It didn't even go back to my name, right? It went back to something else, right? So I put it in again. We're gonna lowercase it all. Mr. Blows, right? Again, so we did I Blows Your Mind, so I Blows Your Mind workout. So what happens when I click that? I'll be damned, it's Maddie Crumb again. I Blow Your Mind workout. What does that got to do with that? Again, click the video. What do you see? Goofy white ass girl.
Welcome to my workout video.
Right?
First you gotta do this.
Maddie Crumb. What does that got to do with I Blow Your Mind?
My name is Maddie, and
right?
I just wanted to say thank you.
She just said I'm Maddie. Right? She said I'm Maddie. What does that have to do with up here? I Blows Your Mind workout. What has that got to do with it? I'm Mr. Blows Your Mind. Why is it my name coming up? So again, what? Oh, so I haven't been manipulated? Or is this person? How's this person able to take me out of the search engine? I come on 3 hours a day, and yet I can't be in the search engine. Look, again, how do you get to monopolize? Again, now we did I Blows Your Mind, I Blows Your Mind workout, I Blows Your Mind diet. It's the same person, Maddie Crumb. How is Maddie Crumb getting to? Who the hell is a Maddie Crumb? What does Maddie Crumb got to do with me, Mr. Blows Your Mind? Nothing. Nothing. Again, I'm showing YouTube. You see it. I see it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So how does this person get to monopolize a name, and yet her name has nothing to do with the title? So does Maddie Crumb work for YouTube? Does Maddie Crumb work for YouTube? How does Maddie Crumb get and block out my name? You got workout, diet, height, Instagram, Photoshop, waist, but no Mr. Blows Your Mind, right? No Mr. Blows Your Mind, nowhere in there. And matter of fact, let's go back. What is your latest video? What is your latest video? That one says 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 2 months ago, right? Right? 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 1 year, 2 years, 4 months ago, right? 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 1 year ago, okay. How is it that this person who I've been on, and you stop my biggest video, and then my name, and I have a URL. I have a URL. Look at this. Let me show you something. So if I go up here, right, and go to what's a YouTube, right? We're gonna go over here, right? And then I put in my name, right? We're gonna put in my name, right? Right? Watch this. Right? Click it. Right? Taking his time. Taking his time. Right? And okay, it finally gets there. Right? In order for you to get to me, you would have to put in me directly. Yet that's I Blows Your Mind. I'm Mr. Blow. Matter of fact, I don't even know how I Blow got anything to do with anything. Anything with the name of that one is Maddie Crumb. Huh? So again, discrimination? Is it discrimination? We gonna find out. Stay tuned, y'all. We're going to stay tuned to this. I'll keep you updated to this and see if there's going to be any changes going on. If not, you'll see it right here. This is what I'm showing you here. It's not even all the evidence I got. I done did all that already. So again, YouTube, asking the question. There's my name up there. I don't know how this person here got anything to do with Blows Your Mind. I don't understand where you get that from. Your name is Maddie Crumb. What's wrong with Maddie Crumb? Put Maddie Crumb in. You get Maddie Crumb too? You get Maddie Crumb too? Let's see. Do you get Maddie Crumb too? Let's see. Do you get Maddie Crumb? Oh, look at that. All I'm going to do is put MADDYC, and at the top is Maddie Crumb. So how is it with my own name, I can't even get into that? Tell me. It's the same thing that this Chinese dude that's doing Amazon? Is that what it is? So you got my videos, again, you got my video taken down, or it's inappropriate so that it would take away the traffic that I was getting. Now you just isolated me off. Well, you got some explaining to do. To the next one, y'all. To the next video showing y'all what's more going on with this. Now, need I say more? Need I say more? Do I need to say anything else that I proved just then? Or anybody want to explain to me? Let me look in the oven to see before I go on with the show. Let me go on. Did anybody see? Huh? Right, you understand? So they've been blocking me. Remember, I've been talking about that. I've been saying, hey man, I can't get past 100 views, right? I got 2.9. Now, it should have been more than that. They went back and they've been ever since I came back, they were still in 1, 2, and if anybody subscribed, they took the 2 away, right? Okay, so I ain't crying about it. I said, all right, we're going to do what you do. Okay, so then the hearing came out. So when I played that, right, and then I talked about you, a couple of y'all was here that night when they did what they did, and said, oh, okay, all right, so now I figured that out. I was like, oh, that's what it is. So when I seen the Amazon, I said, all right, I'm going to present it tonight. So let's get back to the show. So everybody who wants to say I'm the most hated, I just proved to you. I just proved to you why I'm the most hated. It's because of that video I did. Yeah, go back. Do you know why most of y'all end up subscribing what you watch? They ain't like that. They didn't like that. End up saying appropriate after it got 250,000 hits. Then you want to say it was inappropriate. Inappropriate about what? What did I say in there that was inappropriate? Everything that was said in there was what you said. So how could it be inappropriate? Anyway, moving on, y'all. But again, I showed you. So you can't say, now when I say that, I prove it. Now anybody else talk about that, they got to prove it. I just proved to you. You went all that you went. You make sure that my name, look, that you got all this eyebrows in your mind, but they don't even register to nobody. It don't register to nobody. So that's to keep me from getting in there. It's all good. Y'all seen it with your own eyes. Now let's move on and get back to the show. Since you were seeing the Farrakhan. Now again, I know some people will take up in and say, "Oh man, why you do that, Mr. Bloody Man? Why you doing it?" I got to do it because it's the news. I'm part of black media and a historian. We're gonna get back to the history, y'all. Don't trip. The new year coming, I told 363, 365 because 400 years. I'm gonna get back in that too. But this came up. But I got a rebuttal to y'all. I got a rebuttal for this now. I'm going to present it because, again, it came out. And, again, we know why they put this out there. But it's out there. And it's for you to look at it and whether you say, you know. But, again, I got something behind it. They ain't going to just leave that out there like that. So, let me put them together. And then put them together right quick. And then, matter of fact, before I even do that. Matter of fact, this is my this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this. Before I play what I'm going to play, I got to play this because of what y'all just seen. This is how I'm feeling based on what I just did, what I showed y'all. This is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like how this dude feeling. Check this out. Oh, it's not going to be able to play. What the? Oh, y'all bullshitting. Y'all say bullshit. What the? Why they can't play? All right, fuck it. I can't play it. I'll come back. I have to go get it. I just have to go back and get it. I'll be damned. They in there locking up all my shit, huh?
The anti-Semitic group Nation of Islam, led by Minister Louis Farrakhan, received hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayer funds to teach religious study programs to federal prison inmates, according to a report by the Washington Examiner. The Examiner reported Wednesday that leaders of the organization have been awarded at least $364,500 in contracts and awards from the U.S. Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice. Money from U.S. taxpayers was used to conduct Nation of Islam religious services, Nation of Islam spiritual guide services and Nation of Islam study services. The anti-Semitic group led these types of services starting in 2008 in prisons across the country, including those in Michigan, South Carolina, Indiana, Pennsylvania and Arkansas. Republican Rep. Peter King of New York criticized this use of government funds as beyond the pale. Categorically, no group or entity or individual associated any way with Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam should receive any federal funding, King told the Examiner. What Farrakhan preaches is hatred and anti-Semitism and racism, and to use any federal money for any group that he's involved with that do any type of teaching or proselytizing is just wrong, he said. The report said the Bureau of Prisons failed to give any details about the contracts. Contracts are retained 6 years after final payment, so we are not able to provide details regarding the original contract on which the Nation of Islam began contracting with the Bureau of Prisons, a representative told the Examiner. The representative added that the contracts are well within federal regulations that say prisons may contract with representatives of faith groups in the community to provide specific religious services which the chaplain cannot personally deliver due to, ordinarily, religious prescriptions or ecclesiastical constraints to which the chaplain adheres. Because of these regulations, King said, there must be a better vetting process for chaplains so that prisons don't become a hotbed of Islamic radicalization. Since there have been too many instances of radicalization occurring in prisons, that, to me, is a public concern as to what is being taught, he said. To me, once you're associated with Farrakhan, that, to me, would end the vetting right away, King added. Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam have taught that Jews are a synagogue of Satan and that white people are blue-eyed devils. The Nation of Islam has also been labeled as a hate group by both the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center. Additionally, Farrakhan received criticism for a trip to Iran in November where he led chants of death to America. He told the Iranian people that he would stand firm against plots from America, saying, I understand how the enemies have plotted against the Iranian people, and I would like to stay alongside you to stop their plots.
Nation of Islam receiving federal cash to teach prisoners? You know I'm going to say that again. Nation of Islam receiving federal cash to teach prisoners? This was done December 19, 2018 in the Fox News, and this is how it reads. The Nation of Islam and its leaders have received hundreds of thousands of dollars from the United States government since 2008 to teach religious study programs for federal prison inmates, according to records reviewed by the Washington Examiner. A black nationalist group led by Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, preaches that white people are blue-eyed devils and Jews are the synagogue of Satan. Its leaders have received at least $364,500 in contracts and awards from the United States Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice between fiscal 2008 and fiscal 2019. The funding was designed to provide Nation of Islam religious services, Nation of Islam spiritual guide services, Nation of Islam study services, and other related programs led by the organization's leaders, according to Bureau of Prison records. The Nation of Islam has been labeled a hate group by the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center. New York Republican Peter King, chairman of the House Homeland Security Subcommittee on Counterterrorism and Intelligence, told the Washington Examiner the funding was beyond the pale. He said categorically no group or entity or individual associated in any way with Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam should receive any federal funding. What Farrakhan preaches is hatred and anti-Semitism and racism, and to use any federal money for any group that he is involved in with that do any type of teaching or proselytizing is just wrong. All right. So, there's an article that came out today, and again, it was by Fox News, right? We know how Fox News do it. Well, it didn't come out today. It came out on the 19th, right? And they're talking about the Nation of Islam receiving federal cash to teach prisoners. Now, Now, depending on how some people will view it, right? Depending on, again, it's kind of like the Mark Hill situation. He said, well, I agree with Farrakhan, but I don't agree with, okay, but now you ain't got nobody to back that ass, right? You're just out there now, right? You got labeled the same thing that you try to protest against him about, and end up now you ain't got nobody to support you because you didn't take this stance. Okay, so now, what I'm saying is this. Nation of Islam, and since the inception of that organization, have done some great things as to cleaning up our people, right? Clean them up. Don't eat pork no more. Don't smoke no more. You know what I'm saying? Clean up mind. Got some knowledge. You understand? All that. Take them from the gutter to the udder, right? So here it is that they go into the prison systems and they go in and they teach. Right? What they call proselytizing, right? Proselytizing, right? You're trying to convert people, right? Now, all pretty much religions try to do that, right? So there's a subsidy there. So if you're doing the work, right? You know how, we as black, pro-black, right? You can't take nothing from the white man. White man, right? We get that. But again, if you in there and there's a subsidy to get, and you can take that and you reciprocate. Say you're giving it back to the prisoners, or you're doing things or setting it up. Okay, we don't know what they do with the money. Again, maybe some questions need to be asked about that, right? So we say, well, they taking money. So here they going. Blowing a horn because, again, they want, oh, look, man, they taking money. Maybe they doing some underhand deals. Yeah, some people going to talk about the video where Malcolm said the things he said about the Nation of Islam and the deals with the Ku Klux Klan and all. Yeah, we get all that, right? But we don't know all the ins and outs to that, but we do see what they putting out, and they have an agenda why they do what they do, right? All right, so I countered that. Now, you remember that story just said that anybody who propagating, whether anti-Semites, white people, blue-eyed devils, and chanting death to America, that they should never be getting no money from the government, right? So that means, and again, it said the people who labeled the Nation of Islam, the Anti-Defamation League, and the Southern Poverty Law, right? They the ones that labeled them that, right? Or him that, and him being the head, so they mean the whole organization, right? So, what's good for the goose, got to be good for the gander. I'm saying that again. What's good for the goose, it's got to be good for the gander. Well, first, before you get to the good part, I got to give you this one part. Well, what they still talking about? Something ain't playing. Boy, I don't know why all my stuff ain't playing all of a sudden. I guess because I played the Maddie, huh? So, first, I'm going to let you see this. Let's see. Let me get it out first. Okay, first, let's get that one out first. Right, we're gonna give you that part first, and then behind it is what we're gonna get into. So keep that in mind. Hopefully everything plays so we can get it going. No, really, that's bullshit. All my videos, white supremacists, y'all bullshitting. They bullshitting, y'all, but it's okay. We're gonna get it going. You mad now, huh? Exploits IRS loophole to make millions. The original story stated these white supremacist groups are making millions registered as tax-exempt charities. You know I'm going to say that again. These white supremacist groups are making millions registered as tax-exempt charities. The story was done today, December the 19th, 2018, in the Think Progress, and this is how it reads. As their fundraising options dwindle, white supremacists are still registered as charities, as the IRS is doing little to stop them. White supremacist group continue raising tax-exempt funds via a massive IRS loophole. Among these who helped register their groups as charities, Peter Brimlow, Jared Taylor, and Richard Spencer. White supremacist organizations are facing new financial constraints as payment processors, online stores, and fundraising sites increasingly bow to public pressures and prohibit these groups and individuals from making money off of their racist vitriol. For at least 7 organizations, however, a workaround remains registering as tax-exempt charities, as these white supremacists have discovered taking advantage of particular loopholes enables them to continue earning millions of dollars in revenue from supporters happy to avoid taxes. This registration has been a lifesaver for these organizations, including some of the most prominent groups currently leading the resurgence of white supremacy in the United States. These groups, like the V. Dare Foundation, New Century Foundation, and Charles Martel Society, all of which consistently produce white nationalist material, claim to be educational pursuit, stating that they exist simply to pass along information. A little more even, when these groups mention race in their tax filing, they still claim to serve educational purposes. As the New Century Foundation wrote on its tax form, it exists to educate the public on matters of race, race relations, and immigration. Characterizing themselves as educational, institutions allow these organizations to claim tax-exempt status, and it's been a boon for their finances. All told, the combined revenues of these 7 groups identified by Think Progress has reached more than $10 million since the mid-2000s, with over $5 million coming in the past 2 years alone. And thanks to a combination of political cowardice and shrinking budgets, the IRS have been unable or unwilling to do anything about it. As such, these white supremacist groups are able to advertise that status to their followers, promising that donations can be deducted from supporters' final taxes. These groups, especially white nationalist groups, have been using charity structures where they can for a long time. Heidi Benrick, who leads the Southern Poverty Law Center Intelligence Project, told Think Progress they're kind of savvy on this. The attack came just hours after guilty verdicts against a white nationalist in Charlottesville. Few experts and academics have paid as close attention to the tax loopholes available to some white supremacist organizations as Eric Franklin Amante, an assistant professor of the University of Tennessee College of Law. Last year, Amante examined the pattern of white supremacist group gathered under this tax-exempt umbrella in a journal article for the Emory Law Journal online, entitled, appropriately enough, Why Don't Some White Supremacist Group Pay Taxes? The most vital thing for the public to care about is the lack of funding for the IRS, and that is the core of all of this. He found several key factors that combine to create the gaping loophole. The answer is a complicated mix of absurdity, broad Treasury regulations, unconstitutionally vague tests, and budgetary constraints. Amante wrote, thanks to the educational status and a lack of a real dissembled test for what counts as an education institute in the eyes of the IRS, these white supremacist advocacy groups are able to claim that they are no different from universities or other degree-granting institutions. It affords their donors the same benefits that it affords me if I give money to the ACLU, Benrich say. The IRS has also granted white leniency to all groups applying for tax-exempt status in the past. As Amante found in 2015, the IRS approved about 93% of all tax-exempt applications. As such, white supremacist organizations are among certain, not the only groups taking advantage of the loophole. But the white supremacists continue to willingness to abuse the IRS loophole and taking Let's get it, boy. That dad had a dry ass mouth. So anyway, so what we see is that the Nation of Islam, according to that story, what they did is they talked about that they had got government contract, but they were in there as just part of the ministry work that they do, right? And so there was some funding that could be garnered. So I'm pretty sure somebody said, well, we could take that and use that, right? We in here for our purpose, but again, if there's some money to be allocated, and again, I'm one of them people who believe that black people, if you getting some kind of aid, right, whether you getting some stamps, right, if you getting SSI, that ain't enough, right? Don't look at that shit as no welfare. Look at that shit as you still owe me. That's the change. You understand? That's like the change on the money that somebody really owes you. So never feel guilty about something you getting due to our ancestors, bro. Man, they can't even pay us the interest. You get what I'm saying? Can't even pay us the interest on that. So never feel bad. So again, maybe somebody decided, hey, again, I can't speak because I'm not from the inside of the Nation of Islam, but I'm just saying, if they did decide to do that, okay, they got about, according to this article, they said about $364,500. Okay, all right. Now, again, those who might have a problem with that, again, you will go to the Nation of Islam and you say, hey, what's going on with this? Why y'all taking money from the white man? You said the blue-eyed devil. Why y'all taking money? They had the answer. Just like I did the article the other day when talking about the Scientology, right? Again, I gave you two sides to it, right? So, but let's go to the other side. Again, matter of fact, they were getting paid according to what they said is Nation of Islam was for religious services, Nation of Islam spiritual guide services, Nation of Islam study services, right? And other related programs by the organization leaders. They said that came from the Bureau of Present Records, right? So, okay, there's records. Again, they follow the money, you find what it is, right? Okay, so they said they have records. See, we can prove we gave $364,000. What about that? I thought we would double. Okay, and so that individual who talked about this said, well, if any group that, again, as he said, their rhetoric, their hatred, anti-this and that, right? Well, okay. Well, we just seen this other story that talks about who? Right? It talked about the white nationalists, right? The white nationalist groups getting millions registered as tax-exempt charities. They're classing themselves as charities. Getting free money, everything. So that means, it's kind of like how we be looking at the church in our hoods, right? We be like, church don't pay no tax. So it kind of befuddles the mind is how come all the years black people that go to these churches that say you live in a particular, urban city community, right? Your grandma went there, mama went there. So, everybody went there, got generations going to the church, money been funneled into that. Why haven't the church bought out at least one block and put its parishioners in and give them some low rent? Is it part of the, policy is owning or being, church that you can't do that? You can only be tax exempt. Just like the other day I showed the pastor from South Carolina that bought his wife the $200,000 Lamborghini. Congregation lost his damn mind because, somebody was in there, rent was due. Say wife need clothes, baby need shoes, right? That kind of thing, right? Pastor coming in here with $200,000 talking about he blessed. Okay. Rain down on me some, right? So anyway, that it hides under the cloak because I guess I'm pretty sure that's that 501c3, right? You get that tax exempt, right? So here it is, white nationalist groups. Now again, you just say the Nation of Islam is just one nation, and again, some of them stories again, as I talked about the Scientology and Nation of Islam, they said it was only 20,000 members. Okay, we're gonna go with your number. We know better than that, but we're gonna go with your number of 20,000, right? So if there's only 20,000 Nation of Islam members, and they're going to the, to the prisons to, try to proselyte, right? And then you allocate some money. Well, that $300,000 could do good for the betterment of the 20,000 Nation of Islam people they got. Of course, we're not looking at that. We're getting it from you. That's just, again, that is the change. Just like ordering a pizza, right? And get the delivery man, and the bill is, say the bill is like $15 and some change, $15.50. You give him a 20, so keep the change. You can keep the change, right? Go ahead and keep that $4.60 or 50 cents. Go ahead and keep that, right? So that's all it is. That's just the change. If we get anything from you, it's always just going to be the change. But now, because of your disdain and your hatred, and you're trying to ostracize, you're bringing this up. So you can only go to 2008. And you say 2019. I don't know how you got 2019 and we only in 18. So I don't know if that's even true, right? So you're using that again. We know why. We're not that stupid. We're not going to get in our underwear or our panties in a bunch. We're just gonna be like, oh, okay, well maybe some things we just gotta look at and be like, okay, maybe let them explain themselves. We okay with that. But again, as I said, when we look at historically, when we look at the scales, are looking at the fact that what, you know, when your good outweigh your bad, and I'm pretty, again, most of my knowledge about the Nation of Islam is through erudition. I've read, right, and had some people, but again, you know, it was inclusive. You know, tell you dirt, right? You know, so you got to be a member. But based on what I have read, you know, there's some history and there's some rough edges in some of that history. Okay, we cool with that. It is what it is, right? And then there's the other side to it that we can see some of the benefits that we've seen people who we may know personally and people in the community and stuff, and that we've seen again. Everybody's gonna have their own take about it. But again, you said that thing, but then here it is. You talking about your own white nationalists, but you don't put them all. You didn't put them. We didn't see nothing about that, and they mentioned specifically Richard Spencer and Jared Taylor. These are heads of that. But you ain't got them at the front news about none of that stuff, right? Because that's part of what it is. You're supposed to get that. But you getting it, we have to demonize you because, again, what else we going to demonize you for? You saying these things that we saying, I mean, that's not some kiddie shit. Think about it. You gonna call me a blue-eyed white devil? You call me anti-Semitic? Huh? That's some kiddie shit. Give me some substance. Tell me that everything I'm talking about is a lie. Probably won't be able to do that. But anyway, so there it was. It was a dichotomy of both. See, you said this one here, but I said, well, okay, what about them over here? Now, as a media person here, I'm unbiased. But again, I had to show both sides of it. But the fact of the matter is, we understand why you coming at them. We understand why you coming sideways at them. So anyway, let me move on from that. All right, so my videos, y'all, they in here, my videos is like they ain't trying to play, and it's kind of crazy. So anyway, let me go ahead and play these right quick because, don't tell me these ain't gonna play. If these don't play, man, I'm gonna be like highly upset over here. I had this all laid out for a reason. And let's see what happens. Let's see if it's gonna play. Okay.
Done a great job, and hopefully it will be senator-elect because tomorrow we're going to elect her, and we have a tremendous race going on. And the First Step Act has been a great bipartisan effort, and I look forward to continuing to be partners with Cindy and all of the people, Roger, the people of Mississippi who have worked so hard.
Reducing the recidivism rate, which is incredible. And so I think this will be very beneficial, honestly. You see the amount of...
What we'll have here is communities will be safer by helping inmates gain the skills that they need to obtain jobs and stay out of prison after they are released, which has been a tremendous topic. I think we've helped a lot because the economy is so good that a lot of people that would not have had a chance, Phil, you know this, that they would not have had a chance and now getting jobs.
People in jail are at the federal level, and Jared, if this ever happens, it'd be because of your dogged determination. And when you jumped on board a couple of weeks ago, Mr. President, everything fell in place. So I'm hoping.
So let's take a closer look at what's in this plan and its prospects for becoming law with Carrie Johnson of NPR. Hello, Carrie. So we've just heard Mark Holden's explanation. Anything you would add from your perspective of somebody who's been watching this for a long time?
Yeah, I think I've been covering these issues for 6 years, and today really felt like a breakthrough. The notion that President Trump, who campaigned on law and order, has actually thrown his weight behind a plan that would reduce some prison sentences for convicted drug criminals is a big deal. As one advocate told me, it's a Nixon goes to China moment. We'll see if Majority Leader Mitch McConnell in the Senate actually makes the time to get this done this year. We know that Paul Ryan, who's leaving the House at the end of this Congress, has made it a priority, so all eyes are on the Senate at this point.
Well, one thing that has changed is the departure of former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. We know he was very opposed to this. Is his absence now going to make a difference?
I think it is meaningful, Judy. Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker is not opposed to this plan at all, this First Step Act, and he's conveyed that to the White House. Jeff Sessions really dug his feet in and seemed to oppose any changes to sentencing laws, which this plan does now cover in his after his forced resignation last week.
And do you have a sense of the timing, Carrie, whether this is something that is going to need to go, they need to push it during the lame duck? Can they let it slide into 2019?
Advocates I'm talking to, both Democrats and Republicans, say they think this needs to get done now. There's going to be so much going on next year with the House driven by Democrats who want to do a lot of investigating and a lot of focus on health care and other issues. They believe the time for this to happen is now before the end of the year.
So, Carrie, I want you to stay with us because we want to talk about another issue that is front and center at the Justice Department, and that has to do with the man you just mentioned, the acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. He was named after Jeff Sessions was fired. The public first heard from Mr. Whitaker today. For the first time, as we said, since he took on this role, he spoke to a group of state and local law enforcement officers in Des Moines, Iowa.
One thing hasn't changed in all of this change at the Department of Justice. You may have heard there's been a change or two at the Department of Justice. One thing that has not changed is our unwavering support for local law enforcement. The Trump administration will always be a law and order administration. We recognize public safety as the government's first and most important priority.
So, Carrie, again, this is the first time we've heard from Mr. Whitaker since he was named by President Trump to be acting. Today, there was a legal opinion issued at the Justice Department, essentially saying that his appointment by the president was legal, it was constitutional, because questions had been raised. Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, legal experts, including Democrats and Republicans who had worked in the Justice Department in the past, had raised questions about the constitutionality of Matthew Whitaker becoming the acting Attorney General, basically leapfrogging above Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, the man who has been Senate confirmed. Today, the Trump Justice Department issued a 20-page legal opinion concluding that Matt Whitaker is legitimate, that his appointment as acting AG is lawful. This matters, Judy, because, you know, the state of Maryland has challenged his appointment as part of an Obamacare-related lawsuit it has brought, and we expect other court challenges. The Trump DOJ basically says that historical precedent and laws lean toward Whitaker being the acting attorney general. He's been at DOJ for over a year in a senior enough role that it's totally appropriate for him to be serving as acting AG. But what the Justice Department did not do today was opine about any ethics or impartiality issues Matt Whitaker may have, issues that a lot of Democrats in Congress have already been raising.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we still are hearing Democrats question that legal opinion that came out of Justice. A number of them put out statements today, including Nancy Pelosi, who, of course, is vying to be elected Speaker in the new House of Representatives, a leader of the Democrats. But other Democrats have come out with statements saying they question the legality of his appointment. But you're right, Carrie. The bigger question many have raised is whether Mr. Whitaker, is in a position to in any way interfere with the special counsel, with Robert Mueller's investigation. What's the
Department says that Whitaker will consult with ethics officials inside the Justice Department. These are career folks who stay whether the president is a Democrat or a Republican. But he is not committed to telling all of us what their advice might be. And he is not committed to following their advice, whatever it is. That's why Democrats like Jerry Nadler, who may be the next chairman of the House Judiciary Committee next year, say his first order of business is going to be calling Matthew Whitaker to testify under oath. There are real concerns about whether he can be impartial in the Mueller probe because as an op-ed contributor to CNN and on social media before he joined the Justice Department, he seemed to endorse President Trump's idea that this Russia probe was a witch hunt, and that the president was okay to fire FBI Director Jim Comey, and that there was really no point in doing this deep dive investigation, which the special counsel team has been doing for over a year and a half now.
And what has Mr. Whitaker said on this?
Whitaker has basically said that he believes that he will. He has basically said that he has not refused or declined to recuse himself. So it's unclear where he stands right now. There are people inside the Justice Department who say he would not have been appointed acting attorney general had he already agreed to recuse himself from this matter. That would have angered President Trump, and he never would have gotten this job in the first place. So there are big open questions about that right now.
Certainly are big open questions. Carrie Johnson following it all at the Justice Department. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Black leaders forge alliance with Trump on sentencing deal. You know I'm going to say that again. Black leaders forge alliance with Trump on sentencing deal. The story was done December the 20th, 2018 from the AP, and this is how it reads. Washington AP, a rare bipartisan deal in Congress to overhaul federal sentencing laws passed after a few black ministers, leaders, and lawmakers forged an alliance with President Donald Trump, who some have condemned as racist for the last 2 years. The reforms could offer a path to freedom for hundreds of blacks and Latino inmates who were sent to prison by a justice system that critics say have long been stacked against minorities. It's like threading a needle politically, said Mark Morial, the National Urban League's president and CEO. It's been very delicate to get us to the point where we are right now. Bishop Harry Jackson, pastor of Hope Christian Church in Beltsville, Maryland, still gets questions from fellow African Americans asking him why he and other conservative black ministers went to the White House over the summer to talk about the issues with Trump. People are still mad at us about that, Jackson said, but the end results could be worth it to address what Jackson called the defining civil rights issue of this era. Even as detractors complained that the legislation did not go far enough and could invite new problems for minority communities. The bill, which is expected to go to Trump soon for his signature, gives judges more discretion when sentencing some drug offenders and expand prisoner rehabilitation efforts. It also reduces the life sentences for some drug offenders with 3 convictions or 3 strikes to 25 years. Another provision would allow about 2,600 federal prisoners sentenced for crack cocaine offenses before August of 2010 the opportunity to petition for a reduced penalty. That will be a win for minorities who were caught up in a sentencing system that made crack cocaine a more serious offense than other types of cocaine, said New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, a potential Democratic presidential candidate in 2020. When you correct the injustice and a biased system, it dramatically helps to marginalize people, Booker said. That provision alone, 96% of people who are helped by that are black or Latino. Among the advocates of the legislation was a diverse and unlikely group that include presidential advisor Jared Kushner, Kim Kardashian West, the National Urban League, black ministers and minority lawmakers, and libertarians-leaning conservatives. Some of the bill's advocates say it was a tough decision to work with a White House that is deeply unpopular with black people. More than 8 in 10 African Americans said they thought Trump was racist in a February poll by the Associated Press of NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. But even the supporters say they know this legislation is only the beginning, as reflected by its name, the First Step Act. Groups such as the NAACP cheered the passage of the bill, but also harbored reservations. The legislation offers some important improvements to the current federal criminal justice system, but it falls short of providing the meaningful change that is required to make the system genuinely fair, said Hilary O. Shelton, director of NAACP's Washington Bureau. The bill only affects the federal system, meaning anyone given hard sentence at the state and local level will have no recourse. Those inmates make up the bulk of the people behind bars across America. Blacks constitute 38%, or about 68,000 of the more than 180,000 inmates in the federal prison population, according to the Bureau of Prisons. Hispanics make up 32% of about 58,000 of the federal prison inmates, with about 122,000 non-Hispanics in federal prison. Some groups say the bill will open the door to increase surveillance of minority communities through electronic monitoring of released inmates. Others point out limitations in the bill of which federal prisoners will benefit from its changes. The Movement for Black Lives, a coalition of more than 150 black-led organizations, called the legislation custom-made for rich white men. All of the carved out makes the vast majority of our people ineligible for the benefits of the bill, the group said. Even with the limits, the bill advocates are thrilled to have made progress on an issue where reform have remained elusive for more than a decade. Jackson said any president willing to talk about even minor changes should be worked with. I believe with all my heart, if Dr. Martin Luther King was alive, he would have been in that meeting, Jackson said, and he would have been advocating for the voiceless instead of playing politics and personality games. All right, you know they be trying to knock that mic out. All right, so that was about the black leaders and the sentencing deal that supposedly they're passing or going to get it signed to reduce some of the sentence for those who had been, you know, the high bids they were giving people going back during that crack era, right? I think going all the way up to about 2010, right? And so going back to when all those so-called reverends got together, right? And then even in the article talked about Kim Kardashian, right? You know, what that got to do with anything? But anyway, so they throw her in there too as well, talking about leaders. I didn't hear what leaders other than the reverends, right? So I didn't know what leaders they were talking about. It's funny when they talk about leaders. It's like them old alien movies, like Take Me to Your Leader, like, you know. Who white leaders, right? They politicians, right? And, you know, businessmen and things of that sort. But black people got to have a leader, right? Like we, again, being separated from the system, right? So anyway, what you got is this reform they're trying to come up with, right? And they're talking about like this, like threading the needle politically, right? I'm going to say it like this. I ain't going to get to all that because, again, cut and chase. I don't get into all that because it's not necessary. Again, we're closing in about what? We got about 11 days left in this month. 11 days to the first, right? And again, the anniversary, the 2019 is coming in reference to commemorative of what they claim 1619. So I kind of wonder if everybody's trying to do something to make it seem like, again, because you want to take some of like I said, if I'm going to go 365, I'm asking what you going to do, huh? You know, you're going to free license to go at it, go hard as you want, right? You here for a specific time at a certain time, and most of you got platforms. So guess what? Oh, you get a chance to talk about your ancestors and how you feel and all that history, whatever you know. You get a free. They get to use the race card. You get to use the race card that whole year. And so you know what they doing. Again, you know their little fragile minds. So they're gonna be like, we got to do something, because otherwise, see, we'll be able to dwarf a little bit of this by saying that, okay, look, we're reforming the justice system. We're doing this. We're doing that. Again, maybe a little bit too late for all of that. You understand? Just like this next story that I'm going to do, it's a little too late to be doing all this, right? See, it kind of, you know, like some people, just kind of people, you know, you gotta, you know, put the pressure, you know, like, okay, let's just say, for instance, if you happen to be a parent or grandparent or something, you got kids, right? You got some kids you can just say one time, hey, stop doing that. You got someone you got to, hey, you know, you got to, you know, then they get physical. And then the other one, you just got to get in because that's the only way, getting hard head like that. Well, that's the only way it seems like these mugs moving, right? You don't move because something forcing you now that, again, fragile mind because of the guilt. Remember going in the intro where it talks about, you know, what Malcolm said about, you know, people having guilt and thinking everybody hate them, right? and then trying to make it the false reason that you have this, animosity when they know it's factual. So you can always kind of just play it off. But now the history is coming to reveal itself, and it's going to be right before everybody. You can't say now, you can't deny it. Let's put it this way, you can't deny it now. So the best bet is try to make some peace. Try to do some things, at least on the surface, it looks like you're trying to do something better. Right? All of a sudden now, y'all moving. Oh, because he's in the office now. But he in trouble too, right? He got a lot of problems too. He may not get past after New Year's. If these people's trying to do what they're trying to do, he may not get past that. So all this would be just paper tiger, right? Paper tiger, right? Look good on paper, but it ain't gonna fruition. It's kind of like a proclamation. It ain't gonna be an announcement, but we ain't gonna see nothing lawfully until it's lawfully, right? So again, that's put out there again. Those pastors and so forth, and Kim Kardashian helped to push this to this. But again, I think it's just again somebody in trouble. This individual in trouble, plus the commemorate of 400 years is coming, so there's a lot of stuff. I don't think they built for it mentally. They ain't gonna be built for it. I think a lot of people gonna be angry. Not nothing ain't our fault. You know what I'm saying? We just happen to be here to be able to see it. So okay, let's go on, move on. Let me see who out here. Okay, I still got family in the house. Okay, let me read a couple of these. Let me read some of this stuff I got out here, because they done messed up my videos, y'all. So I got again Indigenous King in the house, CDG in the house. I got Tony Smith in the house. Hey, Abdul Kabir was good. I got the Oracle case, 115 HR Bill 40 for reparation. All right. Who else is in here? Got Unity Force. What's good, sir? Unity Force. Letter de Yuda was good. Oh, okay. You say she probably tried to take you out of the algorithm on purpose. Yeah, I know. If I didn't show that, you know what I'm saying? Again, it seems like I'm just be running my mouth and just talking shit. But again, I ain't gonna tell you what I heard. I'm gonna tell you what I know. And so I just presented that because, again, for the edification for those who might be also going through it, but just to present a little bit of my case to them, because they looking. They not looking over here. Because again, like I said, if you see the video I did yesterday, it's at 240. Oh, I slowly got up out that 100 for some odd reason. So, the old saying used to be the squeaky door gets the oil and the closed mouth don't get fed. Some people got this mantra about keep your mouth closed, nigga. Sometimes you got to talk. Sometimes the door got to squeak. You understand? You want some changes. Because they say silence sometimes is complicit to like saying yes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to say something, you got to present it. So I did. All right, so who else I got in here? Let's say everybody's in. So we're working on civil rights and what leaders, right? That's about all we could get, right, Kabir? Civil rights. That's it. And there's no real drastic, legislation that's really going to do anything that really going to be beneficial other than the brokenness that's already here. I mean, you going back and do some reforms to a criminal justice system that its inception was designed to incarcerate us. Let's keep that shit 100. You built that shit because, okay, the plan was already in the think tank was, okay, we're going to take the shit from them in the South, but what we're going to do with them? Because we actually want them, we're going to make them to be, we're going to make them, let's see how I put this. Because, they was building the industrial in the North, right? And the South wasn't playing ball with them. They was all going back in England, selling their products back and forth and making the North go bankrupt. So what we're going to do, we're going to bankrupt the South. We're going to take them people and we're going to make them part of us. Again, that's because of how we got that Social Security, right? We wards of the state. Just like your child, right? Sign that birth certificate, ward of the state. Get out of pocket, come take your child from you. Get a marriage certificate, same business, right? So we just nothing but wards of the state. So we end up becoming their children, right? That's Kabir know this, right? That's why they call minorities. Minorities ain't got shit to do with no so-called status between majority and minority. That's like kid. Law is kid, right? Or minority is like a kid, right? So you always been, that's what I'm talking about, boy. Hey, boy. Minority, right? So what legislation have they done that's actually going to ratify when the whole foundation of this was built on to keep us at a certain position, right? To keep us an underclass, right? So the only way for that to happen, it would have to be, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, you got a building again that's infested, got roaches, rats, you know what I'm saying? The plumbing bad, the foundation bad. You're going to have to do what? You're going to have to demolish it and rebuild. And they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So they're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Well, the wheels is falling off, right? Not so per se them driving it, but something else is driving it, and it's just saying, well, you wouldn't change. You wouldn't do what's right, so guess what? You know, those who read the Bible, remember when Nebuchadnezzar got so damn crazy and shit was out there in the goddamn grass and shit, eating grass and shit and got crazy? They were like, that nigga crazy. Well, that's what's happening here. I'm going crazy because, you know, certain things you just can't fight. It's just going to be what it is. So let me move on, y'all. Thank y'all for making comments. Anybody in here who haven't hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that dislike, say I ain't shit, whatever it is. Do what you got to do. Give me something. Let me hold something. Right, let me hold something. All right, so what else I got up in here? I got, let's see. Yeah, I got this. Okay, yeah, this here. This, again, these two individuals here, I'm kind of wondering why they do what they do. I'm hoping this play, y'all. I hope the video part play because it's real short. But check this out, too. That, again, they doing all this, and you got to ask yourself, why are they doing this now? All right, check it out. Here go. Come right back.
Legislation that would make lynching a federal crime is one step closer to being signed into law after the Senate unanimously voted to pass the bill on Wednesday. Democratic Senators Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, alongside Republican Senator Tim Scott, spearheaded the Justice for Victims of Lynching Act. They say the legislation is the first of 200 anti-lynching bills to pass in Congress since the early 20th century. Under the bill, lynching would be considered a hate crime punishable with up to life in prison. That means anyone convicted of lynching would be charged with the crime in addition to any other murder charge they may face. The bill, which received bipartisan support in the Senate, still has to pass the House before it can be signed into law by President Donald Trump.
"50 attempts, Congress is on the verge of making lynching a federal crime." You know I'm going to say that again. After a century and nearly 250 attempts, Congress is on the verge of making lynching a federal crime. This was done today, December 20, 2018, from Think Progress, and this is how it reads. But the long-pursued effort to make lynching a federal hate crime has now cleared the Senate for the first time in history, after the latest attempt was unanimously approved on Wednesday. Senator Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and Tim Scott introduced the bill, which was co-sponsored by 35 other senators, in July, and it gained unanimous approval from the Judiciary Committee in October. I want to thank our colleagues for the incredible, important act of bipartisanship in the United States Congress, said Harris shortly after the bill passed the Senate. The movement, when the United States Senate agreed unanimously to make lynching a federal crime for the first time, history. Booker thanked colleagues for making the historical moment possible. Thank you for the senators who agreed in a historic moment to unanimously make lynching a federal crime. Gratitude. There were 4,745 lynchings in the United States between 1882 and 1968, according to the Tuskegee Institute, most of them targeting African Americans in the Deep South, but the violent murders haven't been entirely confined to the previous century. Melissa McKinney, a prominent black activist in Ferguson, Missouri, believes her 24-year-old son, found hanging from a tree in her backyard in October, was lynched in October, though police are reportedly investigating Dane Jones' death as a suicide. Dane Jones' mother said he was lynched. His death is reminiscent of another troubling case. Police are investigating Dane Jones, death as a suicide, despite his family's skepticism and a slew of suspicious details. Think Progress, Ian Millerheiser, has detailed how former Senator Richard Russell, a Georgia Democrat and segregationist whose name adorns one of the 3 Senate office buildings, despite his proclamation that he was willing to go as far and make as great a sacrifice to preserve and ensure white supremacy, twice filibustered federal bans on lynching, the second time joining a 6-week-long talk-a-thon to keep the bill from receiving a vote. The Senate passed a resolution formally apologizing to lynching victims in 2005, but said federal legislation against lynching remains wholly necessary and appropriate at the time. The bill that senators approved on Wednesday would also need to pass the House before it could be signed into law by President Donald Trump. In an unfortunate yet poetic coincidence, Senator Cindy Hyde Smith, who cracked a joke about lynching at a campaign event before being narrowly re-elected last month, was presiding over the Senate during the veto to make lynching a federal crime. So that was the federal lynching crime. It had been attempted 250 times. It's on the verge. It didn't say pass. It says on the verge. Again, like I said, y'all, people are posturing for, some people trying to be reelected. Some people are trying to attain other things. Some people in trouble. Some people know that the 400-year commemoration is coming, right? And so, lynching. Wait a minute. We'd have thought that lynching was already should have been on the books. What was the number? 4,745 from the year, they say, of 1882 to 1968. But they ain't got no number from 68 to 2019 because they don't want you to think that it was still going on. Are the numbers probably similar? Maybe they identical. You get what I'm saying? And so, why is it that every time when people, historically and, the historical aspect of it, and then the motherfucker want to come back and tell me, I apologize for what we did. We're sorry. Cut a check, goddammit. You see some of our people out here hurting. Matter of fact, even if you ain't hurting, just because I'm part of that, that's my lineage. I'm tongue-tied to say I need some water. Lineage, right? If that's my lineage and my family, I'm entitled to that. I don't need an apology. I can't use that. You know what I'm saying? Can't use that at all. So we don't need no damn apology. We need some reparations. What's that 115 bill you talking about, brother? Now? We need some reparations. We need something that's tangible. We don't need no damn, half-feel, hate-feel, or hate in the back of your mind telling us some shit that that ain't true. We need something we can hold. You know what I'm saying? Let me hold something. Again, you don't want to do that. So, again, like I said, I think a lot of this stuff is just, again, to just make some postures like we're doing something. See, we're changing. But it's going to be the same old after 2019. So that's why I'm saying we give them hell. We give them hell from January 1st all the way to January 1st. We give them hell. We bring back the ancestors. We talk about everything it did. We don't want no apology. We want the check. Just that plain and simple. We entitled to it. Nothing else need to be said. Legislation is way too late. Don't talk about lynching bill and talk about, and matter of fact, did you catch it? It's federal. So if a motherfucker is lynching you in a state, local, it ain't on the books. Kabir, you know why, right? Federal is different from state, right? That's why we supposed to be dealt with in the federal court, right? One time I had a case, my brother was going, I took nigga to the state court, right? Nigga didn't even show up. I'm supposed to win the case. That motherfucker slid and threw the motherfucker and made like I had applied in the motherfucking federal. Motherfucker had to try to put a warrant on me. I go, motherfucker, what the fuck you talking about? And so they just act like, okay, they know he did the shit. They knew he did the shit. But that's what they did. They did with us in the federal court. Yeah, I know Kabir went in proper persona, right? I went in my proper place. So, you know, I get it. I get all that, right? So, but that's what they do. See, so state is different. So, you know, federal is kind of like the motherfucker who we awarded the states of, right? That's that's our parents, right? State is the motherfucker that's like, those are the ones who had to inherit. Those are the ones that got the estate, right? The estate that was part of when they was handing out, you know, because you know when you do the history, go back in these states, these belong to families, right? Think about that shit. A lot of this shit is family owned. Now the Fed is just Washington, right? Fed is Washington, but the states is those who got allotted that, you know, when they was giving out those, what they call that, charters. When they giving them charters and shit out. So a lot of these families is part of them charters, and them the ones that were getting them kickbacks with this taxes, because you don't see white folks crying about money. Do I need to say it again? When do you see white folks out here crying about money? You don't see them crying about no money. They're talking about all the dogs and the animals, right? And women's liberation and all, but you ain't crying about no money. It's all us that's out here talking about we those who ain't too bougie, right? Yeah, people out here from we want $15 an hour work at McDonald's and all that, right? We crying about some money because of the cost of living, right? It's not adequate to what a lot of us is making. So we need a check for just the simple fact of what you have garnered, what your opulence of life is. Can we have a little hammock? Can we have a little Kool-Aid in the shade? Well, we ain't gonna have no lemonade. We got Kool-Aid in the shade, right? Can we get some? Can we get some? Can the descendants get something? No, can't get no, because we begging, right? I know. But you want to give us these paper tiger ass legislations that don't mean shit. And I mean, and if even if, you know, God forbid, Creator forbid, that something happened to you, then your family had to deal with that, and then the legislature kind of come back, and then again, you know, unless somebody happened to see it, you know, it'd be kind of hard to catch those unless somebody get to be there to see it or come and have to come by, right? So again, I think a lot of this shit is just posturing, trying to make it seem like we're doing something, so that when this commemoration comes, you guys won't be able to say, well, we say, look, we passed the lynching law, we did this, right? Come on, and we got progress. Full of shit. Anyway, moving on. I don't know, did anybody even care how China even became a superpower? Do anybody care? Do you really care? Do you care? Because, you know, it only took them 40 years to do that shit, right? Do y'all want to see that? It only took them 40 years. It took China 40 years, right, to build from what it was in 60, I think it was 78, to right now. They just about pretty much world power. Do y'all want to see it? Let me see. Let me look at this. Anybody want to see that? No, I'll skip it. Anybody want to see that? It took them 40 years to do what they did. Anybody want to see it? Give me a one. Any one against none, it wins. 78. They was from 78 to where we is right now, 40 years to be a world power. So a lot of our people are looking at the fact that how we need to, you know, do what we do, get economic strength and so forth. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's what it is. Anybody care? Nobody really care about that shit. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, so I'm going to get to the crux of what it is tonight, which is, you know, again, these motherfuckers, they always being deflective, right? Always being deflective, right? Never want to take the responsibility. Blaming other people for the reason why there's this wide division and animosity and all that. It's not us. It's them, right? It's them. It ain't me. So Some of y'all might have seen this story. Some of you didn't see it, but here it goes. Be right back.
Facebook under fire again. A Senate Intelligence Committee report claiming Russian agents used social media sites like Facebook to target African Americans in an effort to suppress voter turnout. Christina Partsenevelos is in the newsroom with the latest. Christina.
There's always the latest with Facebook, but you have Facebook CEO Sheryl Sandberg taking to Facebook today 2 employees stating that, yes, voter suppression is a civil rights challenge, and she promised that for future elections, Facebook is going to do a better job when it comes to meddling. Facebook, in their post, and I quote, said that we know that we need to do more, like they've said before, to listen, look deeper, and take action to respect fundamental rights. And this comes, like you said, you had reports coming out from the Senate Intelligence Committee on Monday stating that Russia did meddle within social media and meddled in the election, but more specifically, they targeted African Americans. And what do I mean by they targeted? According to the report, there was about 80 Facebook pages that they looked at, and out of those 80 Facebook pages, 30 of them were directed towards African Americans. Other things that they did, they created Gmail accounts with American-sounding names to get activists to go out and rally and protest their propaganda, essentially. And so you had the Senate report stating that other distinct ethnic and religious groups were the focus of 1 or 2 Facebook pages or Instagram accounts, but the black community was targeted extensively with dozens. So they don't say why they targeted the black community, but of course you can assume that it has to do with creating more racial divide in America and to suppress the Democratic vote. We don't know specifically why, but we do have several civil advocacy groups saying, hey, don't go on Facebook today. And some of them are even saying, Mark Zuckerberg should step down. He's the founder of Facebook. And last but not least, just the effect on the elections thus far. We don't know what the effect has been, but according to Pew Research, the Pew Research Center, they concluded that in 2016, although it was a wonderful record year for American voters, the black voter turnout was the lowest in 20 years. Back to you, Melissa.
Interesting stuff. Christina, thank you.
Thanks.
There is a lot of interesting components here to talk about. Gary Kalthbaum is still with us. And we also want to bring in the nationally syndicated radio talk show host Richard Fowler. Both Gary and Richard are Fox News contributors. Richard, I'll begin with you first. I mean, to Christina's point, you can talk about motivations here, but I think the one that a lot of people are focusing on now that we have this Senate report is the idea of voter suppression, whether the companies, Facebook in particular, knew that's what the Russians were trying to do and whether they acted upon it. What's your view on that in terms of what the companies should have done and what they actually did do?
Well, I think we should demand transparency and accountability from all of our tech companies to make sure this doesn't happen again. But it's very interesting of which group they chose to target. They chose to target a group of voters that they knew would be voters that would, more likely than not, vote for the Democratic ticket or vote for Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. And in doing so, and by suppressing those votes, these Russian troll farms and whatever, they knew that they could have a hand on the election. Because what happens if you could suppress 10,000 African American votes in Pennsylvania, or 10,000 African American votes in Detroit, Michigan, or 10,000 votes in Miami, Florida? That's the difference between winning and losing the election. So this, for all Americans, whether you are Democrat, Republican, or Independent, we should be ensuring that we not only protect our democracy from any type of voter suppression, but we need to ensure that we don't have any foreign interference in it moving forward.
And what do you think, Gary, is the responsibility of the company here? Because from what I've read, it was fairly obvious of what these Russian accounts were up to or what their goal was. Sometimes it's tough to tell, but they say in these cases it was fairly obvious what they were trying to do. And when Facebook and other companies were asked about it, they didn't come forward and say, yeah, they're trying to suppress the vote. They basically said, well, we're not sure. What's the responsibility?
Well, first off, Richard's 1,000% right on everything he said. Look, the problem with Facebook, as I see it, while on their way to becoming this data collecting blob throughout the years to make zillions of dollars off their community, they forgot something, and that is the controls of having billions of people on their platform and doing nothing about it. Well, guess what? Wake up call city in the last couple of years, and
that's
for
all
me,
changing
my
now, Gary,
eyes,
right?
Yeah, but they've been slow in doing it, not till something bubbles up to the top or some investigation comes up, do they start reacting? They need to get their act together and be more proactive about this stuff, because I got news for them. A ton of millennials are leaving them. Their brand name has been heading south for about a year now. Their stock price has been crushed. Nothing good's going to come of it until they really open their eyes to what's going on.
It's, boy, it's interesting. You want to make it's got to be a quick point, Richard. I'm sorry.
I will make one point. I think it's very important to know, as Congress thinks about regulating Facebook, remember how large of a company Facebook is. It owns WhatsApp. It also owns Instagram, all products that millennials and African Americans and all Americans use. So when we think about regulating Facebook, let's remember they are a large entity that has various properties that users use every single day.
Our old buddy Walt Mossberg, the well-known tech journalist, said yesterday, by the way, not a millennial, no offense to Walt, but he's leaving Facebook. You know, so it's interesting to see that. All right, guys, thanks. Gary, Richard, good to see you both.
Thank you.
Russian 2016 influence operation targeted African Americans on social media. You know I'm going to say that again. Russian 2016 influence operations targeted African Americans on social media. This story was done December the 17th, 2018, coming from the New York Times. And this is how it reads. The Russian influence campaign on social media in 2016 election made an extraordinary effort to target African Americans, used an array of tactics to try to suppress turnout among Democratic voters and unleash a blizzard of activity on Instagram that riled or exceeded posts on Facebook, according to a report produced for the Senate Intelligence Committee. The report adds new details to the portrait that has emerged over the last 2 years of the energy and imagination of this Russian effort to sway American opinion and divide the country, which the author said continues to this day. Active and ongoing interference operations remain on several platforms, says the report produced by New Knowledge, a cybersecurity company based in Austin, Texas, along with researchers at Columbia University and Canfield Research, LLC. One continuing Russian campaign, for instance, seeks to influence opinions on Syria by promoting Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian president, and a Russian ally on the brutal conflict there. The New Knowledge report is one of two commissioned by the Senate Committee on a bipartisan basis. They are based largely on data about the Russian operations provided to the Senate by Facebook, Twitter, and other companies whose platforms were used. The second report was written by the Computational Propaganda Project at Oxford University, along with Graphica, a company that specializes in analyzing social media. The Washington Post first reported on the Oxford report on Sunday. The Russian influence campaign in 2016 was run by a St. Petersburg company called the Internet Research Agency, owned by a businessman, Yevgeny V. Prigozhin, who is close allies of President Vladimir V. Putin of Russia. Mr. Prigozhin and a dozen of the company's employees were indicted last February as part of an investigation of Russian interference by Robert S. Mueller III, special counsel. Both reports stressed that the Internet Research Agency created social media accounts under fake names on virtually every available platform. A major goal was to support Donald J. Trump, first against his Republican rivals in the presidential race, then in the general election, and as president since his inauguration. Among the services the Russians have provided Mr. Trump is to join in and amplify his regular attacks on Mr. Mueller, posing as a fed-up American. The Internet Research Agency trolls have denounced the investigation of Russian election interference as a weird conspiracy, pushed only by liberal crybabies, the New Knowledge report says. One Facebook page called American Fury declared falsely that Mr. Fuller worked with radical Islamic groups. Another backed the badge called James B. Comey, the FBI director fired by Mr. Trump, a dirty cop. Creating accounts designed to pass a belonging to Americans. The Internet Research Agency spread its message not only via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which have drawn in the most attention, but also on YouTube, Reddit, Tumblr, Pinterest, Vine, and Google Plus, among other platforms. Its attack on the United States used almost exclusively high-tech tools created by American companies. The New Knowledge researchers discovered many examples of the Russian operators building an audience with one theme and then shifting to another, often more provocative set of messages. For instance, an Instagram account called Army of Jesus first posted in January 2015 images from The Muppet Show, then shipped to The Simpsons, and by early 2016 became Jesus-focused. Multiple memes associate Jesus with Mr. Trump campaign and Satan, that of the rival Hillary Clinton. The Russian campaign was the subject of Senate hearings last year and has been widely scrutinized by academic experts. The new reports largely confirm earlier findings that the campaign was designed to attack Mrs. Clinton, boost Mr. Trump, and exacerbate existing divisions in American society. But the New Knowledge report gives particular attention to the Russians' focus on African Americans, which is evident to everyone who examines collections of their memes and messages. The most prolific IRA efforts on Facebook and Instagram specifically targeted Black American communities and appear to have been focused on developing Black audiences and recruiting Black Americans as assets. The report says, using Gmail accounts with African American sounding names, the Russians recruited sometimes paid unwitting American activists of all races to stage rallies, spread content, but there was a disproportionate pursuit of African Americans, it concludes. The report says that while other distinct ethnic and religious groups were the focus of one or two Facebook pages of Instagram accounts, the Black community was targeted extensively with dozens. In some cases, Facebook ads were targeted at users who had shown interest in particular topics, including Black history, the Black Panthers Party, and Malcolm X. The most popular of the Russian Instagram accounts were Blackstagram, with 303,663 followers. The Internet Research Agency also created a dozen websites disguised as African Americans in origin, with names like blackmatterus.com, blacktivist.info, blackolive.org, and blacksoul.us on YouTube. The largest share of Russian material covered the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality, with channels called Don't Shoot and Black to Live. The report does not seek to explain the heavy focus on African Americans, but the Internet Research Agency tactics echo Soviet propaganda efforts from decades ago that often highlighted racism and racial conflicts in the United States, as well as recent Russian influence operations in other countries that sought to stir ethnic strife. Rene DeRista, one of the report's authors and directors of research at the New Knowledge, said the Internet Research Agency leveraged pre-existing legitimate grievances wherever they could. As the elections efforts geared up, the Black Lives Matter movement was at the center of the national attention in the United States. So the Russian operation took advantage of it, she said, and added Blue Lives Matter materials when a pro-police pushback emerged. Very real racial tension and feelings of alienation exist in America and have for decades, Ms. DeZista said. The RA didn't create them, it exploited them. Of 81 Facebook pages created by the Internet Research Agency in the Senate data, 30 target African American audiences amassing 1.2 million followers. The report found by companies 25 pages targeted the political right and drew 1.4 million followers. Just 7 pages focused on the political left, drawing 689,045 followers. In response to the NAACP said it would not use Facebook or Instagram for a week and urged its social media followers and partners to do the same. While the right-wing page promoted Mr. Trump's candidacy, the left-wing page scorned Mrs. Clinton while promoting Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate. The voter suppression effort was focused particularly on Sanders supporters and African Americans, urging them to shun Ms. Clinton in general election and either vote for Ms. Stein or stay home. Whether such efforts had a significant effect is difficult to judge. Black voter turnout declined in 2016 for the first time in 20 years in a presidential election, but it is impossible to determine whether that was the result of the Russian campaign. The New Knowledge report argues that the interest research agency present on Instagram had been undermined and may have been ineffective or more effective than its Facebook efforts. The report says that there were 187 million engagements on Instagram, users liking or sharing the content created in Russia, compared with 76.5 million engagements on Facebook. In 2017, as the American news media focused on Russian operation on Facebook and Twitter, the Russian effort shifted strongly to Instagram, the report says. The New Knowledge report criticized social media companies for misleading the public. Regrettably, it appears that the platform may have misrepresented or evaded in some of their statements to Congress. The report says, noting what it calls one false claim that specific population groups were not targeted by the influence operation, and another that the campaign did not seek to discourage voting. It is unclear whether these answers were the results of faulty or lacking analysts or more deliberate evasion, the report says. The report suggests a grudging respect for the scale and creativity of Russian influence operations, but the Russians were not eager to take credit for their own efforts. After the election, the report says the Internet Research Agency put up some 70 posts on Facebook and Instagram that mocked the claims that Russia had interfered in the election. You lost and you don't know what to do, said one such post. Just blame it on the Russian hackers. All right. Thank you for sitting there and listening through that. But somebody had to read it. Just in case you wouldn't, I did it for you. So, all right, so they talk about the 2016, the influence operations targeted African Americans, and they say based on that, that made the outcome of how we end up getting Donald Trump, or how the nation got it, because it don't matter who's sitting in the seat, it has nothing to do with us, right? And I know there's some people, whose lane is to propagate, politics. Again, politics has its place. But again, I think it's more on the lower level, local level, than it is when it gets to nation. Not until, let's put it this, the demographics change when we come out of the child state until we come into the parent state. If you follow what I'm saying, I say it again. When we come out of the child state till when we get into the parent state, then that will take and have its real meaning. But until then, so they wanted to say the reason why they couldn't win. They said, well, Russia was targeting African Americans. African Americans actually the last 20 years had been coming to the polls. And that ain't what they've been telling us. They was always telling us that we wouldn't get enough people to the polls, right? But a lot of people came out to the polls through that 2008, right? 2008, right? About 2008, we got Obama in 2012, right? Highest number of record turnouts for those who went out there and did that. Okay, so I don't know what again 20 years, but okay, let's just say, for instance. But we have to look at it this way. Black folks didn't have a horse in the race. And matter of fact, as we heard earlier with the article that talked about what Louis Farrakhan said about a white blue-eyed devil, well, when you had two of them, who did black people have the choice? It was you either take the female one or you take the man one. So a lot of people's like, well, shit, it don't matter which one I get, I'm getting the same thing, right? It's like, it ain't gonna make no difference. Now I know the other one might be, again, some affiliation because they say, well, he was the first black president. I don't know how that ever became her husband was the first black president. Well, we was desperate as hell, wasn't we? I ain't gonna say we, us and him, but people was desperate as hell talking about that mug was the first black president because he smoked a joint, didn't inhale. Right? Well, I don't know how that. He ain't smoke, he didn't hit the hell, and he was getting fellatio up in the office. He's doing some nigga shit, right? Okay, we gonna say it like that. He's doing some nigga shit. So everybody trying to go, oh, he right? We taking that kind of stuff, right? But again, we had no real affiliation with her, right? And then during the campaign, a lot of stuff that was coming out. And it's not the fact that maybe there was just a lot of stuff that was in her background that was being drudged up, right? And maybe that had a lot to do with it, right? There's a lot of dynamics that was involved in there. But to say that these people were targeting us, and again, I got a book in my library that talked about when our people was going through, I think it was after Reconstruction or somewhere around there. There was some Russians that came to a brother that was trying to get him to file in a way so that we could actually separate from them, right? That's where all this word, the communism and all that shit was coming from. We way back at that particular time. When I go through my library and find that book, I'll present that information for y'all. Remember, I said that. I'm going to show y'all that. And so there's always been some little affiliation with them and us, even going back in the time when we was in the condition, right? Because you got to remember, historically, Russia was from what they call Washington, Oregon, all the way down up to the line between separating California. That was Russia. Remember, you got a little quick history lesson. You remember in the Civil War, right? Oh, not Civil War. Well, okay, yeah, Civil War, right? Who was it that helped the North to back off? Because remember, England and France got together because they understood what the hell was on, and they was going to fight with the South. But it was somebody that said, "You bring y'all ass over here. You don't want none. Don't start none. Won't be none." You know who that was? It was Russia. You know how I can prove that? How you think we got Alaska? Alaska was the payment, right? Because Alaska used to be in Russia. Remember when Sarah Palin talked about, "I can see Russia from my house," and everybody, crazy, but you can't see Russia from my house. Yeah, crazy, but we don't know geography. But anyway, so that was, the masking of paying Russia for helping the North in exchange with Alaska, because they said the people wouldn't accept that, so they use Alaska pay, and that's how we got Alaska, because they helped. They was in the background. It was like, we wish y'all would get on them. We gonna get y'all. See, so when they do this whole shit about United States and Russia and having all that shit, I'm like, wait a minute, these motherfuckers are partners. As a matter of fact, okay, this is a market, right? This is a market, and so those merchants, right? The merchants, okay, you had London, right? And when they first branched off, it was the Russian went first, and then they tied together, man. I don't fall for that bullshit, right? Them motherfuckers, they all together. So anyway, so to have them influence is because, again, they know who they understand this whole game here, who ended up winning the game and how they stole that, right? And that whole shit. And so at times they would use, and they know, again, they didn't initiate this. What they did is they said, we could use this, right? We could use it. We know there's a tension in there. And matter of fact, if you go back to that video I did when it was doing the campaign between Trump and Hillary. I presented something that I had got from out there that was out there at that time. And then I was reading, I was like, okay, because I remember they were talking about this individual, what I'm just going to say George Soros, right? They were talking about George Soros, and they were talking about how George Soros pretty much run Russia. He got so much money invested that pretty much he run it, right? So when they would start talking about how he owned all these machines, so I was like, damn, the fix is in. But everybody just knew Hillary was going to win. And then that night when that shit started coming out and they were talking about this state and that state, I was sitting there like, that's what it was. So when they saying Russia, they don't mean Russia. They talking about that cat. You understand? That's what they really talking about. All right, don't pay no attention to me. Don't pay nothing to what I'm saying. Don't do your own look. You'll find. You'll see it. Right? So I'm just saying, so they want to say that they was targeting us by talking about all these little counts and only about 300,000. That's it. They was talking about 300,000. That made the difference in this election. And he was like, well, 10,000 here, 10,000. Well, it's not. I don't think it's about the numbers, right? Because I think we learned that in when we was 13 years old in 8th grade, that it said that the president and the vice president could not be voted by the population. Anybody? Can anybody fact check that for me? Anybody tell me I'm wrong? Didn't they tell you that in taking that Constitution test? That the president and the vice president could not be picked by the population. So that's electoral college. So they tell you and go to the poll, then they, according to who on vote, then they're going to follow through and do it, right? You could make people confused. So did you really pick? Or was that just, that was the choice picking by that who do the picking? The mystery electoral college people that you don't even know who they are, right? So you want to sit here and keep saying this and that the reason why they're talking about that is because they're trying to say that the division in this land is caused by what took place. And all this heighten of this, no. That ain't got nothing to do with this shit. It's always been, what's on your screen? It's always been about race. Since we've been in the count of this, it's always been that. So don't blame that shit outside external. That shit is internal. See, that's your problem. You trying to be deflective. Own up to it. Pull yourself by the bootstrap and cut that motherfucking check. And then maybe, you know it's too late for all that shit, but maybe you might can redeem some of it. It's too big. You ain't got enough to pay us right now. Everything in here ain't enough to pay. Everything you got in here ain't enough to pay. Y'all, they know that. And once you pay, everybody else who was involved gonna pay. That's what they ain't gonna. I ain't gonna say they're not gonna pay us. I just gonna say that's why they hesitating to pay. They waiting for it. They're gonna wait till all the dilution of the DNA and mixed up with everything. And then when you go do that DNA test, just like you can't be an Indian. Like black people can't be Native Americans no matter what you do. You be like, man, I got Indian in my family. But when you go do the damn test, like, you got an Indian there. I thought we was Nantuckets, and I thought it was Cherokee. I know we got Indian hair. My grandmama said she was, but when you do that damn DNA test, it ain't gonna be no Indian. You know why? Because there's a claimage in that, right? You can get some check from that, right? So you ain't gonna get that. So what you think gonna happen as time go on with that DNA test? That shit gonna get to the point that it's gonna be so diluted and so mixed up that those who of us, and again, I done heard somebody argue about, y'all ain't black, y'all got white people. I was like, girl, you crazy. You better stop that. But anyway, you know, so that's what all that shit is. So stop all this trying to people influence us and making us do what we gonna do. We gonna do it because again, when we see the benefit in it. Again, we're getting a little bit more astute. We're getting a little bit smarter. If we starting to play the political game, you ain't gonna just get us with a chicken dinner no goddamn more. Right? You ain't gonna get us with a chicken dinner and a backpack with pencils and shit. No, you're gonna have to come with something else, some more tangible shit. If you wanna win, you're gonna have to come to us correct. Like you do everybody else. Right? See, again, we only been in the game 52, 53 years, right? We'll say 65 and now about 219. About 53 years we only been playing this game. 53, and we only been in about 9 elections, right? So everybody think we don't supposed to know the political game. Like, no, we don't. We still brand new, right? We ain't. So now that the game is tightening up and the numbers is, we the swing vote. You want something? Come talk to us. What you got in the bag? Santa Claus, come straight to the ghetto. Huh? That's what you do. Come to the ghetto. What you got in the bag? You want to win the race? What you got? What you offering? What you got in there? What can we hold? Right? That's what we finna become. We finna become we gonna be the split vote. So I'm talking about somebody influences. No, what you got? You ain't got to worry about them influences. If you come correct, what you talking about? What you got for us? What you got? You ain't got nothing? We just stay at home. We been in this condition. You ain't telling us nothing new. You the one trying to grease up all your pockets, but at this time, again, chicken dinner, coming to the church. Church gonna be empty. Ain't gonna be too many mothers up in there doing that no more. So you gonna have to come. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to come to the influencers, the real influencers who are talking to the they influencing, and they have some kind of word to them. That's who you're gonna have to come to. That's what they're going to have to, right? So again, it is what it is, y'all. So I did present that story to you. I wasn't going to do that Chinese cinema, but I didn't want to do that. Because what the hell do we care, right? It took them 40 years. How long is it going to take us to do what we got to do? All right, it'll take a little bit longer than that. So let me see who out here, some messages before I get up out of here. I got 8 in the house. Good, that's good. Now we'll keep fluctuating, going back and forth. I'll agree. Some, let's say, radical going in a lot. I agree with sometimes it. You know, CDG, their whole debacle over there is because really, when you look at it, like okay, like you got radical, you got Muhammad, right? And then you got the other side, which is the show and the Cabra, right? I ain't gonna get all the name, but you know, I'm astute on it. I be on here. I just don't be saying nothing. I be there when y'all be out there. I just don't be saying nothing, right? And I'm just saying that, you know, that whole debacle started when somebody wasn't forthright about who they was with. They try to say one thing and they end up being something else. And then when it came out, they tried to backtrack and felt like, well, if you down with me, then you shouldn't cross the path. You should be down with whatever and was cool because you knew already. But Home Goddess was like, but that's kind of you kind of deceptive, right? You're not being forthright. So on my merit of my standards of what I sit on, I have to be real. Now, it rubbed some people in the wrong way. And then what ended up happening was, well, you know how it is. In numbers, people got, you know, a lot of people could, you know, they tough. They can jump you when it's 4 or 5 of them. And you got to be Bruce Lee and whooping everybody's ass, right? So when Bruce Lee whooping everybody's ass, they got to go back and regroup. And they try to come back the next time with even more. And so now Bruce Lee then went and got a partner. Now Bruce Lee and his partners fighting all of them. So it gets real messy, right? It get messy because, again, the blurredness is the simple fact of what was really done. And everybody's trying to divert that. And then some other stuff come up. So now another person becomes questioned about who they say they is. And then the third party outside person come and say, hey, look, y'all, this is what I found. And now, so because Home go get it and say, you know what? Even though he an outsider third party, but look what he presented. And so people say, well, because you brought that in, you making this motherfucker start talking all this bullshit. And that's what I'm talking about. Black people all trying to cater to white people. No. It all goes back to the origin of where it started. Yes, third party shouldn't have been involved in that shit. But the point is, you should have dealt with, okay, if you in question and that one in question, resolve that question, and then all that shit would have dissipated. But because you bullshitted around, and so what ended up happening? Y'all done made all this bullshit in the corner. That's why I don't be fucking with that shit, because I be like, y'all probably grown. Probably grown ass people in here. But a lot of motherfuckers act like they still in high school. Like you ain't got out of that high school shit, or maybe what it is, some people just ain't used to having a little bit of notice. You know what I'm saying? You was I don't want to say this. I want to say this. You was an L7 ass nigga, right? You know what L7 is, a square ass nigga. You was a square ass nigga, right? That nobody knew. You went to school and shit. A couple people, you was in that little clothes. They come on emo ass motherfuckers. Them kind of motherfuckers. You know motherfuckers in the corner ass shit, smoke the square. Them niggas. You was one of them type motherfuckers, right? Now that you don't get on here, and again, you know, you can get on here. You can be anybody you want to be until shit come out there and you expose it about who you really is. If you on some bullshit, it's really going to come out, right? So you done got in here, got a little bit of notoriety, and the game is about numbers. So the bigger the number is, the more popular. Look, I'm this, and I can impart this to you if you kneel and kiss the ring shit, right? But again, as we said tonight, we've seen the Amazon, some motherfuckers buying shit. So we don't get to see the receipts behind the scenes. We just see the numbers. See, everybody wants you to think that they organic, but again, I already gave you the Smith, what they call that shit? The litmus test. I already gave you the litmus test. When you see a motherfucker talking about his subscribers is all 1 million, and then look at the motherfucking views and say, damn, how come you got 1 million subscribers, but your motherfucking views is only about 10, 20,000? How's that possible? Something ain't right. That's all I'm going to say. Right? That's all I'm going to say. When that shit like that, you got the question, why your shit so big on this one, but it's so little on this end? Either they ain't down with the content you went, or where's these numbers coming from? So I hear people keep saying, well, people pocket watching and count my money. Of course you're gonna be. Everybody thirsty in this motherfucker, right? Everybody thirsty. We black folks. We all want to come up. We all looking for some way to get some relief. And here we trying to figure out what are you doing more special than everybody else doing. At least I read the shit over here, right? At least I'll go get the article and read. And I'll give you the video, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't just give you just the video and just give you just a point. And then they saying, I'm going to cut my whole shit off if your ass don't subscribe to me or you don't give me no money. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't follow my shit, none of that shit. I don't, fuck it. I'm over here. I'm down for everything. But some of that shit, I look at it again. Motherfuckers act like they ain't used to having a little bit of notoriety. And I can always tell that some kind of how motherfuckers was. Now, even though you got some cats, you know, they was on the street and all that other stuff. But again, there's different levels to this shit. It ain't all everybody just because somebody gonna try to blanket and say they this, that don't mean that you was the general. That don't mean you was the chief. You could have been a foot soldier. You could have been a foot soldier of a foot soldier. You get what I'm saying? And so when they come in here, you see these different mentalities and attitudes, and it's like, man, look, wait a minute. We got a little corner over here. The corner was powerful for 1 minute, right? It got real powerful for a minute. That's what all this legislation is about. Legislation is trying to say, hey, you niggas over here, really, they trying to say Russia, but really they saying the black corner over here was changing the mindset of black people. Say, man, fuck all that politics shit, man. Let's get our money, build this shit. That shit ain't gonna never change. Let's do local and all that, right? That's where the real influence was coming. Fuck what Russia was talking about. It was what we was doing. And so you have a lot, and then they be coming in our channel looking to see what we talking about, and they going back and reporting, hey, man, what this nigga over here talking about the white extinction and shit. Now go ban that fucking video. And all this other shit, right? We had the influence. We the influence over here. That's why you got somebody who came from TV that's over here now. You got motherfuckers that had on TV, and now they over here. And they competing. And you know, as an artist, you know your work. I ain't gonna say shit, though. I'm gonna sit back. I'm just gonna wait my turn. I seize my work out here. But it's okay. Because it's, in a way, it's a form of flattery. Right? Respect. I get it. But I know my work when I see it. So anyway, what you talking about on that, that's what happened with that. They should have just dealt with the fact about what had took place, and they could have resolved it. But that's what happened here. People got to save faces because the people behind them that they supposed to be in front of, it becomes damage good. Because matter of fact, if you remember, I'll put it like this, CDG, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it. That day, that individual went live, and he was about to do a live show, and the phone rang, and his eyes bucked so big because whoever that was that called him told him that, hey, that picture out here circulating, and he was going on live. Somebody timed it perfect. If you can find that video, go back and you'll see somebody hit him right when he was going live, and his eyes bucked like, God, oh no! And then from that day forth, everything took off, and he went into repair mode. Right? Now, all those affiliates that was there had to get in because why? They feed too. You know, when you go on a bigger platform, it helps supposedly bring traffic to you. So a lot of people, again, needed that because, again, that was with their affiliate, and that's how they got they startup, or that's how they got that lane. So they had to be keep that allegiance. But Home Goddess was like, I'm what it is. I'm going to stay what I am. And this is what it is. And so now they battling. It seems like every year, if you've been on there for over 5, 6 years, 10 years, every year around this time, it's always this bullshit happening in this corner. Some people start getting into all this big bickering and shit, right? Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? This would be that time, just that time of the year. And the biggest one that put a real hole in it went back when they was going to do that debate. Those who know what I'm talking about. Went back maybe about 2 years ago. That big debate that was supposed to happen on that one show, right? And then it got into this whole thing that it got to, you know, mom was sabotaging the other one, and the other one making a run, and they in the car doing the video. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I was sitting like, man, and then it just blew everybody numbers went down. Then they came in and then they swapped everybody ass, and then they said, well, you got to change up your posse. So that's why so many channels are not around anymore, right? Because of all that. So again, like I said, I'll be sitting back, I'll be like a fly on the motherfucking wall. I'll be seeing all that shit, but I just be like, I ain't gonna get involved in all that. You know why? Matter of fact, I do want to get involved. I actually want to start going around and reporting a lot of this bullshit and be the motherfucking mediator, because somebody need to mediate a lot of this shit. Because a lot of this shit is just some kiddie high school ass shit. Shit could be squashed. Now somebody will say, well, it shouldn't matter about who I'm with. No, that's your choice. But again, you can't propagate something and then be another way. Because then you deceiving. Now they say the people who know me know that. But again, every day you on here, you get new people. So that means you got to keep reiterating that. But you know you don't want to, because again, it changes the mind of people. So again, it is what it is, man. That's just the name of this game. People gonna do it. For me, I stick to what I do. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I know what you're talking about, though, CDG. You agree with it sometimes, right? And again, I don't expect nobody to agree with everything I do 100% either. I mean, you don't want no yes person up on you all the damn time. Oh yeah, you know, something you saying is cool. Okay, some of the stuff maybe I don't understand where you coming from. Okay, that don't mean I dismiss it. Just okay, maybe either I want to go research a little bit more. Maybe I just didn't agree because I'm coming from a different direction. But you know, everybody know what we going through, so I don't understand what y'all going through all this fighting. That shit is unnecessary. I seen an elder and another person go at it, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? Some people just got lanes that just rub people the wrong way, but that's the lane he in. Okay, either you down with it, don't fuck with it. That's it. You say what you say, and then I seen that same person get with another person, and then put that person under the same kind of question that we talking about with home guys, but this one, you know, put it on Front Street, and it blew up, and said it wasn't going to get involved in it, and said it was going to say what it was going to say, and then end up getting back into it, and it blew all that shit up. I was like, if you just would have stayed your ass out of it, if you'd have just left it alone, you'd have been all right. But no, you had to come back in it, right? So I would say it's just a lot of shit that it seems like people are just not used to being under the spotlight. You know, I don't know whether you was an athlete or was you just regular on the street or whatever. You ain't used to having people having attention to you. And then sometimes it go to, it's with the old Glass Knight song, don't let it go to your head. Right? Don't let it go to your head. They're letting this shit go to their head, and what ended up happening? A lot of bullshit. And who end up sitting back? That let the sharks in the water bleed. You know that bleed when the water got blood in it? Then all the videos start coming out. Then you can just go in there, nowhere you go. You see that video. Everybody's trying to make some money off it. So a lot of people like the drama because they can feed off the blood. And y'all, not y'all per se, I'm just saying, but they keep falling for that shit. And then that's what happened. Your ass keep doing that shit. And then you want to sit there and then, you know what I'm saying? Wars and shit. Unnecessary. And then you got the third party motherfuckers outside of that circle, like, yes, keep doing it. Distract. Then it take a while before everything get back and settle down and get back to some normalcy. A lot of shit is just again, we are a resilient people. We done been through so much. And because of that, you know, we have a tendency to be emotional. Because we done went through so much. And that's one testament, you know, somebody, if one of us, if you ain't got no emotion, you ain't no feeling all this suppressing and I don't get it. Okay. Well, that's right to me. Shit. I hit the wrong button. You'll hear it. Hit the wrong button. You'll hear it. So, but again, that's a testament because again, we're resilient. Matter of fact, they talking about 7 wonders of the world. Well, the 8th wonders of the world is right here in the United States. We should be like I was talking about Nebuchadnezzar. We should be in the damn bushes, eating grass, you know what I'm saying, naked in the mug and just crazy out of our damn mind. But somewhere we so damn resilient that even with all that they've done, they told you the Indians couldn't survive because they said smallpox. But nigga, they done gave us AIDS, they done gave us diabetes, you know what I'm saying? You done gave us all kind of shit. And niggas, we still here. We resilient. And y'all don't get that shit yet. You still doing all this other bullshit. Huh? So I'd be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you just don't get it. So I'm just saying they need to stop all that bullshit. Some shit motherfuckers out here talking about, there's a lane for it, but there's a better tactful way to do it. If you want to talk about sisters and the shit that they're doing and trying to give them so a way that they can change up, you know, sometimes they say it's constructive criticism, right? Sometimes you got a tough love. Some people need that. Again, like we were talking about earlier about children. Sometimes you got children that's a little hard head. You got to be a little bit more stern with them. And you got some children that you could just say, you ain't got to do nothing. You just give a look and they can move. But some just, so again, there's a lane, but again, some people, again, because of our emotion and all the shit we go through, so some people don't like it. Now, again, that individual got his own issues, right? He coming from a whole lot of shit his damn self. He done put that shit out there for those who caught it. Even done had his mama on the damn show, if you caught that one. Get what I'm saying? So I've been on here for a minute now. I done seen a lot of shit. Well, motherfucker didn't know who I was sitting back. Like, oh, really? Okay. Archives. So anyway, but that's what that shit is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people come from a lot of backgrounds, a lot of fuck shit that doesn't happen to them. They done try to grow up and become something, but again, you don't get rid of all that shit. And so when you get in here with all these egos and shit, and so they start clashing. You're talking about unification, but they clashing. Well, probably because a lot of us, again, different kinds of tribes in this, right? Well, have we ever thought about that shit? A lot of different tribes that reside in a lot of us, right? So a lot of this dissension and non-unification is because of maybe some of this different tribal shit that might be up in us. You know what I'm saying? Since they said we so mixed up. And again, Africans say we ain't African, right? Remember that I played that? You ain't African, y'all white men. All right, well, whatever it is, whatever you want to say it is. Okay, so even if we that. But over here, we black, right? So I'm just saying for them, you know, they're going to have to handle it the best way they do. And I guess I'm talking about cleaning the house. You know what I'm saying? I hear my brother over there. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk about the one that's them partner up with her, right? He's like, fuck it. It is what it is, and he called motherfuckers straight out, and he coming at them, and they don't really, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers, okay, you won't talk that shit, and then when the motherfucker come to talk the shit with you, you talk your one side, you unilateral shit, you doing one side shit. You'll talk the shit, and then when the motherfucker talk, you want to cut him off, or you want to cut her off, or we going to block you. Well, what kind of shit is that? Either you're going to have the conversation, the dialogue, let the shit be said so you can get some resolve in it. Otherwise, quit talking the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just stop all that bullshit. And things will be a lot better. But you know, they can't do that shit because, again, egos. Motherfuckers I got 50,000 subscribers. I got 100,000 subscribers. So you putting on the show. Then you better stick to who you is. Because, I mean, again, I only got 100 people that come see me. That say 2.9, but I can't see nothing but 100 people coming. So I'm supposed to say I got 2,900 people who subscribe to me that I can. The hell no, I don't know them. But motherfuckers take that shit literally, and most of these motherfuckers is buying shit. And that's another thing too. Like I said, you don't see the receipts. So anyway, none of that bullshit. Like I said, I don't want to, get no soap opera shit. Right? I just observe. But I think I would be a great ass mediator. I tell you that much. I would like to say, motherfucker, y'all got a problem? Come on my show. I have both of y'all get on this motherfucker, and I'll resolve that shit. I will resolve it. I seen motherfuckers when they came in. I seen most of them when they came in. They weren't here when I was in, and I was even on before I got on. Only reason I got on, I'm gonna tell you if you go see my very first video, it's about the old girl that was in the Olympics. What's her name? What's that little girl's name? What's that little sister name? Tonight they talked about her damn hair. That's what got me on where I'm at right now. Always been doing what I've been doing, but I wasn't going to do this shit. But I said, that did it. I get on there. I'm like, niggas, y'all done lost y'all goddamn mind talking about that girl because she out there flipping. She ain't supposed to have, her butt ain't supposed to be whipped. She out there doing backflips. Did I rhyme? I just rhymed, didn't I? Her butt was whipping while she was doing backflips. Oh, shit. About to put out a record, y'all. So, anyway, that was the beginning of the shit. And so I seen a lot of people when they was not where they at right now. I seen a lot of them, they growth and where they at right now. I was there. But again, I wasn't doing this like I'm doing it now. I was just doing the shit. Right? I was just doing it. It was a period I could do it. And then when I finally started doing it, I hit that big one. And then YouTube was like, not him. And that was put me off for a while, got me off my square, and I came back. Now I'm coming back strong again. I ain't leaving this time. They're going to have to carry me out. So anyway, that shit, man. I would appreciate y'all even being up here, even listening to a brother. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my edification is just, I'm just sharing this information of this news. Again, somebody got to be on the watchtower watching what they doing. See, a lot of people say, I don't care about what they doing. Somebody better be watching. Matter of fact, that same thing about what the many parts of Tinkle. Those who know the Bible, right? Many parts on Tinkle, right? Remember they was up there, Belshazzar out there. They was in there partying and shit, and the motherfucker snuck up on the bridge and came up in there. And this is a stick up. Everybody get face down, right? And that's how they got caught off guard because the motherfucker that was watching the bridge was in there partying. Doing what they was doing, right? So somebody got to be on the watchtower like, hey man, y'all see what they, this. It may not make no sense to you, but eventually, you know, it all gonna come full circle. Then you gonna be like, oh, I remember that. I heard that. See, that's why I do what I do. That's why. So you get it or not, that's on you. But the thing is, can't say you didn't know. See, anybody who fuck with me, really, you know, you can't be the time motherfucker be around me and say, I didn't know that, because if I know something, I'm gonna tell your ass. This just that what it is. I tell my motto is what, y'all? I ain't gonna tell you what I heard, I'm gonna tell you what I know. Right? So the other motherfucker, they bickering and fighting about this and that, and who's the hey, what our common denominator is, we are the DOS of this land. We are from the people who built this motherfucker. We are the bloodline of that shit. And those who are not, that's no offense to you. I'm just saying. That's who we are. And with that being said, that's our common bond. That's our common union. Everything else is just a choice of what you choose. Whether it be Hebrew, Moors, Israelite, commission, all you want to call it. That's just what you want to do. But what our commonness is, because even some people be trying to tell an African, and I'm like, well, again, my history and what I learned was about that African was when the Romans came over there and took that province and they called it Africa, and somehow from there, the whole thing became Africa. Some people say Scipio Africanus. Some people say, what was his name? Afrique. Whatever it is. The people that was on the continent didn't call themselves that shit. Period. They didn't call themselves that shit, so stop it. You can say that. Show us where they call themselves that. The whole landmass. They ain't even looking at it like that. That's somebody putting a flag on the damn moon. You get what I'm saying? Now that don't mean ain't no kin and we affinity and we ain't family, but just to umbrella and say this. I get that's how we today geographically we look at the place and we say, okay, we all come there. Okay, I'm cool with that. But don't say that's who we are. Again, I'm trying to figure out when does the African name come in anyway? Is Africa an African name? Is that an African dialect? Africa, is that you know what I'm saying? Or is that more like English and Latin? Is that what those, or is this African? Ethiopia, is that an African word? Anyway, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of bullshit. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do a morning show, y'all. Let me see. I got some more. Hold on. I got some more stuff in here, huh? Your channel, yeah, they try to suppress your channel. I think only found your channel when you made a rare comment on one of the radical shit. Oh, well, it probably was the only time. Was you over there with Royal CDG? Was you over there when what's her name? The Royal family? And then one time I used to go over there when she had her channel, then to say some shit happened with her, right? And y'all, not you, but they fell out, right? I was in there one day. It was about when Serena. It was something I was talking to Home Goddess about that. It was about Serena. And I think it was the night they did the Prince, the tribute to Prince. I was in there, right? I was in there and I see Home Goddess in there and I would say, hey, what's up, girl? Ooh, right? And so that's the only time. Other than that, I really don't. Because, you know, some of them be itching for a scratch. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers just looking for a reason. Look, I told motherfuckers already, nigga, when I grew up, we sat on the corner and talked shit. That was for fun. That's what we did for fun. You understand? So I'm built for that. I don't want to be on here doing that shit. Right? That ain't what I want to do. I ain't in here again. There's a place in the proper place for all that shit. But this ain't the place to be doing that. And so people need to know how to get behind the scenes, pick up the motherfucking phone, text each other, work that shit out. Because again, you in front of everybody. You know, old school used to be like, you know what I'm saying? You don't try to show out and do all this shit in front of company, right? You kind of, you know, dude had a female, she like to show out when the company come. You restrain yourself, you ain't try to do it because people there, or same vice versa, right? You know, company around, you try to hold, you know, when the company ain't there, then we're going to handle it, nobody can see. It's between you and I, right? But these cats, no, they put all that shit up before everybody, and then bottom feeders and the sharks and all that, then they just, you allowing them to feed now, right? You allowing them to feed. And so, you know what I'm saying? Y'all adults, handle that shit like the motherfucking adults do. You know what I'm saying? Sit down, conversate, iron out your disagreements, and make some kind of way with, we're not putting that shit out in front of everybody to see. But I don't understand why that, I mean, I understand why I'm saying it, but I understand where that don't come into play with people. They rather get on here and back and forth because they say, okay, you got me, touche, now I got to come back and get it again. So when does it end? When does it end? Until somebody, what they say, get ethered? So destroy you so much that to the fact that you can't even come back, you have to come back another way. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, people got to be better than that, right? We done been through too much for y'all to be still on that kind of shit. Now, there's some people who out here who got issues because, again, I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. I seen somebody on here talking about they got caught up because their parentage ended up being half, right? They was half one, half of the other. But before that got known, they were out here, right, doing what they doing. Now, again, in that situation, okay, if you feel more affinity and kin to being with this, that's where you grew up at, then okay, that's the thing about half and half. I guess you get a choice, right? You get a choice. But, you know, you done heard me say, how, you know, Caucasian would tell us anything with one drop of black blood, you on our team, right? Like, you at the park and shit, you want to pick up, got 10 players out there, and the last 10 motherfuckers are bum, motherfuckers, nobody would never pick up. But because we need 10 to run, we got to take this motherfucker, right? So that's how it is with the one drop rule. We, as black people, we get any motherfucker about it. Come on in. What? Who co-signed this motherfucker right here? No, he on y'all team. What? So, right, we got to do it like that. We got to take it like that. We got to take it how that is, right? But we can't be, as our people, be like, no, if you got one drop on the other side, you on their team. Oh, that don't count. That don't count. So they get mad if we say, no, you can't be on our team. Then what they do is they try to undermine and say, you know what? You ain't as black as you said you is. What? Oh, what kind of shit is this? What? We ain't as black as we is. Now you gonna play that game? Come on, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Deal with your situation, right? And say, okay, this is what it is. And then address this and make people understand why they're flawed in their thinking. Say, you know what? And then some people say, well, you know, you're using this religious philosophy and I don't go with it. And I'm going to just say it like this. And I'm going to be done. I'm going to say I'm be done with it. You are, okay, let's just say, if the woman has the egg, right? If the woman has the egg, how does the egg activate? Woman already has the egg already in her, right? They already got the eggs in, right? I mean, there's no white people talking about they taking the eggs out and they freeze their eggs, right? So that means the woman already got the eggs, but ain't nothing in the eggs to make nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can go make eggs, right? You can go in the kitchen and crack them up and make you some eggs, right? But for some motherfuckers, they don't take that little white part out the egg. You know what that little white part is in that egg, right? Y'all don't take that shit with the fork and get that shit out the egg before you make your eggs, if you eat eggs, right? But that's the sperm, right? And if you take that and that motherfucker sit up under that heat, up under that bed, that motherfucker going to fruition and turn into a motherfucking chicken. So that means, how that sperm get in there? So you are determined by your father. You come out of your father and incubated through your mother. So whatever your father is, then that's who you are. And again, I did a video where I laid that out. Did anybody y'all see that video? Where I showed you actual factuals that gave you the source. I gave you, matter of fact, it's a, shit, I got the motherfucker right in front of me too. Hold on, I got the motherfucker right in front of me. Hold on. This is a primary source book, meaning this is actual factual. This ain't no guessing. And I laid that video out, and it showed you when let's say I did Holly Berry, I did what's her name, the Fancy from Jamie Foxx show, right? I did her. Michael Jackson was a hypothesis, because again, we don't know what the hell that is, right? We don't know what that was, right? But you got to see when this father and that one got together, you got to see the child. You go back and you see that bit, you'll see it, right? You'll see all that. I laid all that out and gave it to you so you could see the visual of it. So if anybody would say that there is some kind of religious thing, no, that's just science. You are determined by your father's seed. You come from your father. What do you think the sperm is? Then they tell you that when a man ejaculates, it's about, well, I don't know who sat down and count the shit, right? They came up with some number, right? I don't know who actually sat there and we didn't count it. 1, 2, 1 million. I don't know who did that, but they said that, and then each one of us in here, won that race, got in our mama's egg, and incubated 9 months, 10 months, boom, here we is, right? But this person was like, no, that's some bullshit. No, it ain't. Matter of fact, I keep telling you, that's why that the white man want the sister, because he knows the baby that he put in you is more going to be him. Yes, it's going to have mama's traits. It's going to have some of the DNA and all. It's going to get there. But that's still going to be what it is. So whatever it is, man. So people arguing with that. That's on them. That's their fight. But I'm just saying, I don't understand. I mean, you can't denounce it. That is what it is. That don't mean still you can't advocate. But again, the whole part is it's like, can you lead? Right? It's like they say, can you talk black and sleep white? Right? And then lead. Then some people say, well, Harry Belafonte, but Harry Belafonte was in the background. He didn't lead. He supported. He did all the stuff he did, but he didn't get out and lead. Because again, the same thing. Matter of fact, if you know the Martin Luther King story, he had a white woman before Coretta, right? He had a white woman. But they came to him and said, hey, man, it ain't going to work, man. You're going to have to get Coretta, man. You're going to be in front of people, man. How you going to look? Matter of fact, look at Washington. Have you ever seen one of them white men? Even if you say Donald Trump, but you ever see a white man with a mix in them all? You don't see that. You don't see it. You just don't see it. Because again, what they represent of their people, right? But you know, people want to tell you could be all kind of things. Again, you could be on our team. Just throw them a jersey, coach. Get them in the game, right? We get any motherfucking body. Shit. We get a 3'2" ass motherfucker on our team. Huh? We get any motherfucker. They give us anybody. They give us Igor. They give us any motherfucking body. They on their team. Right? Who wrote these rules? The same motherfucker that give a referee with a black and white jersey talking about he impartial. Know damn well the ref will throw the damn game if he don't like your ass. Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, y'all, I talked enough random shit. Y'all got me all out talking this other shit. So, I want to thank everybody who came in tonight. I'm already at the 3-hour mark. We're looking for that other show that I'm trying to probably get on tomorrow. If I got to get in here, do the rest and then try to get us some stuff for tomorrow. But I want to thank everybody again. Indigenous King, CDG, Tony Smith. Yeah, Abdul Kabir, the Oracle case, if he's still in here. Leonard Yuda, Unity Force. What else I got up in here? And that looks about it. No Natural Nature tonight. Okay. So, again, you know what it is, y'all. See one another, man. Get a universal nod. Take all that animosity off each other. Ancestor John Henry Clark said, we ain't got nobody. We the only thing we got. We ain't got no friends. So we start recognizing what that is and who we are. And start taking some of this animosity off again, so maybe we can thrive and be a lot better than we was yesterday. So, to my next show, y'all. Peace, love, and CDG says watermelon, hair grease, and everything else. And don't start no shit with that shit, CDG. Much love to y'all, man. Peace out.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we sing the song, Good News, the chariot is coming. While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the world.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You have to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to fucking You can't make me like my friend.
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptist. We're not brutalized because we're Methodist. We're not brutalized because we're Muslim. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true. I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today. said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary, booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.